I'm a little rusty on it.
I'll hum it for you.
I'm going to be fine with your jokes, but I'm not sure about dark branding.
All right. How is everyone doing? I'm going to angle this so that it's a little bit more towards me. All right. Let's get started. Shall we do the intro? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you might be watching this. My name is Josh and welcome to my channel. On here we talk news, we talk politics, we talk current events. What do we got for today? I know I always make the list, but you got, bear with me here. Oh yeah, I want to take a look at the floods going on in Vermont. I want to look at the VA privatization that's going on, or at least the attempt to privatize parts of the VA and what that could and what impact that could have on beneficiaries. And then we get into the fun half, the legally distinct fun half. We'll talk about the, I wasn't really gonna talk about it, but then I thought maybe there's something interesting we could talk about on the topic of Jonah Hill and his whole shenanigans. And then Patrick Bet David apparently exposed something about the LGBT movement, which is basically I didn't realize he was a biologist or the archaeologist, and discovered this new thing about these people who live amongst us. It's very, I don't know. I'm a bit nervous how this is gonna go. And then we'll take a look at Warrior Poet Society on kind of his take on the smart gun. We've talked about the smart gun a little bit. This is gonna be the one coming out of here in the state of Colorado. Something that I've been pretty supportive of. I just kind of think it's is it a fix-all? Absolutely not. But I do think it's something that there could be a big market for. And then after that, we'll actually get to play They Are Here demo, now that I got it to work finally after last night's stream and it didn't want to cooperate. So yeah, let's say we get into it, shall we? Does that sound like a good idea to everybody? Let me change this to this. All right. So if you've opened up the weather app on your phone, you might have noticed that we're getting a lot of heat waves going through this summer, and a lot of rain. We saw a record amount of rain here in the state of Colorado. Usually not the moistest state that you could live in or come to visit, but over the last, I don't know, I'd say probably maybe 2-3 months, probably more like 2 months. We have gotten a record level of rainfall, and the rest of the country is seeing their versions of that as well. Up in Vermont, it looks like they got a lot of rain, and we obviously see throughout the country temperatures spiking. I heard earlier Italy was like over 110 degrees out by the Mediterranean. So yeah, the planet's warming up. We talked a long time about how climate change was kind of nonsense, and here it kind of is. So let's take a look. I got an article out here from Vice, kind of looking at what they're calling the new abnormal. Rise of extreme flooding. Parts of the United States eastern seaboard have been hit with massive floods in recent weeks. Let me zoom into this a little bit. There we go. It's worse than a new normal. I call it a new abnormal, says University of Pennsylvania climate scientist Michael Mann. On Tuesday, Vermont was the site of heavy flooding that trapped people in their homes and shut down roads. Earlier this week, New York's Hudson Valley similarly experienced torrential rains that led to several flood warnings. Nationally, 11 million people remain under flood warnings as of Tuesday, while globally, countries including India, Japan, China, and Turkey have seen destructive flooding that has displaced millions of people and damaged property in the last year. So, when we talk about the consequences of climate change, this is a good little preview of what we're going to be looking at. Now, we live in the United States. We live in a country with, while not star-studded infrastructure, and certainly not the social safety nets that we could have, we certainly are in a better position to respond to these kind of extreme weather events, as opposed to, say, somewhere like India or, any of what can be described as the global south. And, what you're going to end up seeing as a result of climate change, probably the overwhelming response will be mass exodus from a lot of these areas, mass migration. We are going to see, because of the effects of climate change, we are going to see a massive influx of people having to leave their areas of living and settle down elsewhere. And the question's going to be where all of them end up. And if you've ever turned on the news, during especially an election cycle, you'll know that people really, really lose their minds when when large groups of people are looking to immigrate to literally anywhere where they can begin to pick up the pieces of their lives again. So, that's going to be a challenge that we're going to face, going forward. Everywhere is susceptible to these impacts: the Western, Central, and Eastern U.S., Europe, and Asia, with one of the best examples being the Pakistan floods last year, which displaced more than 30 million people. As the Earth gets warmer, the atmosphere is able to hold more water, leading to heavier precipitation when it rains, and a greater likelihood of flooding as a result. A 1 degree centigrade increase in the atmosphere's temperature corresponds to a 7% increase in water vapor that it's able to hold, according to the Center for Climate and Energy Solutions. And sentiments suggest global temperatures could breach a 1.5 degrees Celsius increase threshold sometime in the 2030s, meaning much more rain to come. We spoke with 4 climate scientists about the factors behind the rise of extreme weather and how the government could respond to both combat it and alleviate its impacts. These interviews have been edited and condensed for clarity. Lovely. I want to continue reading this one. Oh, a surging. Oh, let's. Do we have video? Yeah, we do. Good gravy. Oh, my headphones. I was like thinking to myself. Oh, I can't hear anything. That's weird. There's like stuff playing, right? Like I'm not crazy. Okay. Oh, wait. I know why that's doing that. There we go. Okay. Nope, still not. What the heck? Why are you not? That's weird. For whatever reason. Oh, that's why. No, go set it to my headphones. Huh? Is it not this one? Is it this one? No, that's not it. You, excuse me? Oh, well, that's kind of stupid now, isn't it? Okay, there we go. Now, do you want to cooperate? Oh, wait. No, it's not my headphones. What the fuck? Okay. Well, that's fucking weird. Now, isn't it? Let me try this. Try to plug in this other light. Okay. Sorry, guys. Sometimes, you just... Oh my god, that's awful. Okay, cool. Now we're good. Jesus. That was stupid. Okay. Yeah. Woof. Jesus. Storm dump up to 2 months worth of rain in 2 days in Vermont and other parts of the Northeast. That's pretty crazy. Officials said the flooding has already cost tens of millions of dollars. President Joe Biden declared an emergency for Vermont and authorized federal emergency agency. the Federal Emergency Management Agency to help.
Earlier today, while overseas,
Jeez.
President Biden approved my request for disaster declaration for all 14 counties. This will help mobilize federal resources to support our response and recovery efforts for this unfolding and ongoing disaster. The devastation and flooding we're experiencing across Vermont is historic and catastrophic. Floodwaters continue to rise in some places, like our capital city, and have surpassed levels seen during Tropical Storm Irene.
Like, sheesh. Here it is. This is what I wanted. Okay. Let's continue a bit of reading here. Andover, Vermont. A storm that dumped up to 2 months of rain in 2 days in Vermont and other parts of the Northeast brought more flooding Tuesday to communities marooned by water, including the state capital, where officials kept watch on a dam just upstream. There were signs of hope in some areas where floodwaters had begun to recede, and officials began assessing the damage and the scope of the cleanup ahead. The flooding has already caused tens of millions of dollars in damage, officials said, with more to come. If water pours over the dam in the Winooski River that flows through Montpelier, it could surge through downtown blocks where the floods were already waist high. Whoa, what the fuck? Yo, what the shit? I did not expect like a downtown. This is some fucking Last of Us shit. Sheesh. Oh, I'm so sorry. Look at this. Look at this. Specifically this one. Like, oh my goodness. That's fucking wild. Oh yeah, we'll take a look at this in a minute. Anyway, Montpelier police said just before noon that waters had risen to within a foot of the top of the dam, and that every foot of water that goes over the spillway would double the flow into the city. But city officials later said they hadn't seen any significant changes in the water level since then. They said they would continue to monitor it through the night. One woman was swept away in New York. There have been no reports of injuries or deaths related to the flooding in Vermont, where swift water rescue teams aided by National Guard helicopter crews have done more than 100 rescues, Vermont Emergency Management said on Tuesday. That included an extremely high-risk rescue by a visiting New Hampshire team of a person who decided to drive around a barricaded road, said Mike Cannon of Vermont Urban Search and Rescue. The car was washed off the roadway almost into the river, he said, urging drivers to pay attention to road closures. Dozens of roads and highways were closed, including many along the spine of the Green Mountains. And flash flood warnings and advisories were in effect for much of the state from the Massachusetts line to Canada. Downtown Montpelier, a city of 8,000, was swamped between the Capitol building and the Winooski River. Montpelier town manager Bill Frazier warned that the Wrightsville Dam, several miles to the north, could exceed capacity for the first time. There would be a large amount of water coming into Montpelier, which would drastically add to the existing flood damage. People in at-risk areas may wish to go to upper floors in their houses. Multiple rescue crews were positioned in Montpelier, where dispatch, police, and fire operations were relocated to a water treatment plant after heavy flooding at City Hall and the police and fire departments. Also, the radio towers they use for emergency calls are not functional. Lovely. Brian Pfeiffer, a biologist who has lived in Montpelier area for 4 decades, canoed around the downtown area on Tuesday to check out the damage and was appalled by what he saw. Quote, "It's heartbreaking to see my city flooded like this." Oh, I love the idea that this dude's just, fucking paddling up the river bend through his local downtown area, whose home is on higher ground. The basement of every building, including the one where he works, and at the lower levels of most, were inundated by water that reached near the tops of the parking meters. Shelters were set up at churches, town halls, and municipal auditoriums. Where delivering food to more than 200 people taking refuge there was a challenge. We're trying to find paths to get supplies into them, said John Montes, American Red Cross and Northern New England Regional Disaster Office. The slow-moving storm reached New England after hitting parts of New York and Connecticut on Sunday. Some communities received about 7 to 9 inches, 18 centimeters and 23 centimeters, of rain by Monday night. Towns in the southwest New Hampshire had heavy flooding and road washouts, and the Connecticut River was expected to crest above flood stage Wednesday in Hartford and towns to the south. President Joe Biden, attending the annual NATO summit in Lithuania, declared an emergency for Vermont and authorized the federal... Oh, is that FEMA? Okay, thank you. Why don't you just fucking say FEMA? You can say Federal Emergency Management Agency at first, but just say FEMA after that. To help coordinate disaster relief efforts and provide assistance, he also spoke with the governor and Senator Bernie Sanders. Oh, now you want to use FEMA sent a team of Vermont? Fuck you guys. Along with emergency communications equipment, and is prepared to keep shelters supplied if the state requests it. The agency also is monitoring flooding in Massachusetts, Connecticut, and New Hampshire. Regional spokesperson Dennis Pinkham said Tuesday. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre urged people on Tuesday, quote, to please be safe and follow safety protocols. Road crews cleared debris Tuesday, reopening Interstate 89 as it follows the river. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. The river between Montpelier and Middlesex. Rescuers from North Carolina, Michigan, and Connecticut joined Vermonters in among those reaching towns that had been isolated since torrents of rain began belting the state. One of the worst hit places was New York's Hudson Valley, where a woman identified by police as Pamela Nugent, 43, died as she tried to escape her flooded home with her dog in the hamlet of Fort Montgomery. Damn, rip. The U.S. Military Academy at West Point was pounded with more than 8 inches of rain that sent debris sliding onto some roads and washed others out. They're calling this a 1,000-year event, New York Governor Kathy Hochul said during a briefing on a muddy street in Highlands Falls, just south of the Academy on the west bank of the Hudson River. National Oceanic Atmospheric Administrator, what the fuck? NOAA, okay. Richard Spinrad said Tuesday that 13.7 million people were under inland flooding alerts on Tuesday. Atmospheric scientists say destructive flooding events happen more frequently as storms form in a warmer atmosphere. And the planet's rising temperatures will only make it worse. So, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a, I'm not a marine specialist. I'm not a meteorologist. I was not a math or science person. I was much more of a history and English person in school. But, we've gotten a lot of warnings from the scientific community, from the community that understands these sorts of events for decades, basically my entire life, for quite a long time. We have been told by scientists around the world that climate change is real, that the warming of the earth through the burning of natural gases, along with everything else that we have going on pollution-wise, is going to lead to these kinds of extreme weather events. And, I can speak to a little bit of that, considering just a couple weeks ago, we had, I think it was either last week or the week before, we had like a just torrential downpour and like the first real tangible tornado warning that we've had since I moved to the state. Things, quite frankly, in terms of the weather are, no pun intended, heating up just a bit. And if we don't take the steps that we need to take, and I don't think that we are, and I'm not really convinced Biden is doing everything he can, to avert this disaster, we are going to see more of this. We're going to see more extreme weather events. We are going to see more flooding, more tornadoes, worse hurricanes. This is going to end up being the new normal. And unfortunately, This is not going to be to anybody else's fault but our own. Also, being somebody who lives in the U.S., I'm rather privileged in that we here in the U.S. are not going to feel the heaviest brunt of this. We will see a much more reduced impact to our lives, but certainly when immigration rises because of this, when when resources become not so much like drastically more scarce, but when it becomes just a little bit more of a political question as to where our resources go, we're going to have no one to blame but ourselves. And with that, I want to also take a look at a certain former president who, let's just let him let's let Barack get into it.
Malia comes to me. She says, "You know what? She's 24. All our friends. Sometimes we talk about climate change, and we just feel like there is no way we're gonna be able to solve this. We're looking at the science. It feels as if we're on a trajectory that we're gonna sail past this 2 degrees centigrade."
And like, okay, can we talk about like, I heard this. I didn't initially see the video for it, but can you kind of tell how like unconvinced he is by a lot of this? How like, we sail past the 2 degrees centigrade. Whoa, oh my God, like, calm down, the world's not ending, sort of thing. And it's always, I find that, and this happens a lot with older people too. Not to throw our more aged folks under the bus here, but they're like, when I hear older people opine about how, or at the very least, like kind of downplay the effects of climate change, it's really coming from an incredibly privileged position. A lot of these folks, somebody like Obama, probably isn't going to feel, well, I mean, first of all, he's a former president. He was never going to feel the effects firsthand, but even so, like, he's not going to see, 100 years in the future what the planet looks like, how extreme these weather events are going to get. He's not going to be here for any of that. And it's because of a lot of his like inaction and disinterest in the topic, I think, that we're standing here, that we're in this moment, that this flood in Vermont stems from.
Right. Benchmark where after that, potentially things are getting cataclysmic. And so I'll be honest with you, Dad, a lot of my friends, they just feel as if, what's the point? Because the world's burning and there's nothing I can do. And I said to her, well, she asked me, what should I say to them?
Right.
And what I said to her is, look, we may not be able to cap temperature rise to 2 degrees centigrade. But here's the thing, if we work really hard, we may be able to cap it at 2.5.
And look, in that statement is the implicit I guess the best way I describe it is like this implicit notion that there's nothing we could do about it. There wasn't, I didn't really hear about it much when I was president. People haven't talked about it a lot. It's just not on people's minds. Like there's always this air, and like Barack is the last person who I think, any president for that matter, is the last person to come and talk to the youth and say, I mean, look, we might not be able to stop the 2 degrees centigrade, but you got to get out there. You got to get out there and work hard. And it's like, well, that's really nice, man. Like the whole work hard at it. Try, if you just work hard, climate change will reverse. It's like, no. Through your inaction, because of your dereliction on this topic, we're in the place that we're in now. There's something to be said about telling folks, hey, look, I know it's hard, and I know that you shouldn't be in this position, and that you are being put upon by having this foisted onto you. I get that. I understand that, like, it's not fair. And me just saying life isn't fair on this one doesn't really cut it. But like, and we are, like, my generation, the generations after us, my kids, like my kids' kids, they're going to be dealing with a lot of this too. But like, the idea that I feel a deeper sense of responsibility for this than somebody who was the leader of the free world is, I don't know. It's just, it's sad. I remember when I was younger in 2008, I remember I was so disappointed that I wasn't able to vote in the '08 election. At that time, I was, what would I have been, a 16? Yeah, at that point, I would have been 16. So I didn't get to vote for Obama. But I remember hope and change. I remember the feeling that we were going to start to really make an effort in this country, that we were going to turn it around. I remember, to the mid 2000s, we got is like when I started watching more Michael Moore documentaries, when I got radicalized through Sicko to be to coming to an understanding of how our healthcare system works and what other systems around the world could educate us about, like what we could have, and things of that nature. And it's just, Obama really capitalized on a lot of that, and we're still sitting here and we're just kind of saying, well, better luck next time. You may be lost this time, but get him in the next game. And coming from somebody who utterly failed us in this regard, it's just, I don't know. It's depressing. To not reflect on that and not think, wow, what did I not do that my daughter, the daughter of a president, is still feels this malaise of something I had full power to rein in some meaningful fashion. It's just, the lack of reflection is stunning to me.
Instead of 3. Or 3 instead of 3.5. That extra centigrade, that might mean the difference between whether Bangladesh is underwater.
Right.
It might make the
And
difference.
God, this is so indicative
as
of
to
his
whether,
politics, of the politics of
100 million people have to migrate.
corporate Democrats,
only a
of
few,
centrist
And
Democrats.
these
This
incremental changes
That
this
matters.
harm
I see
reduction.
what
It makes
Instead of a focus on elimination of harm, it's harm reduction. It's, hey, look, if we can get half a loaf, let's get half a loaf. If we can get half a centigrade, we get half a centigrade. That's something, and something is better than nothing. But this is, I think, the mindset. This is the approach to politics that people like me, and politicians like me, political pundits like me, other commentators. This is the core, I think, political approach that we absolutely need to shift in the party. Absolutely. This, this ask for a half a loaf, get a quarter loaf nonsense needs to stop. It is the newer generations give me a little bit more faith. They're clearly a lot more radical than people who were voting Democrats in the 90s, for Democrats in the 90s. And certainly that will be helpful going into the future. But this is what we need to combat. This comfort with half-assing it. This comfort with half measures.
makes a difference.
Sure.
And
And
to
it's
be
worth
able,
fighting for. And
it's worth fighting
And you
for.
can't descend into nihilism and not try to save those
Yes,
100, 200, 300 million people. It matters.
That's a lot of
I
people.
agree with it. Yeah, that's a lot of people.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and it's there is only so much we can do. I understand that. Like, we have to live. I said this a little bit yesterday during the Brianna Joy Gray segment, and like, there is a amount of reality that we do need to live in, but by no means is that an excuse to to not
historic and horrific,
to not reflect on the mistakes that we've made in the past. Certainly not. Anyway, let's I want to take a look at just ABC's thing on this real quick.
weather that's just slamming the Northeast. The governor of Vermont, Phil Scott, now declaring an emergency for the entire state as heavy rainfall and flash flooding stretches up the East Coast. Governor Scott saying that more boats had to be brought in to rescue at least 19 people, and more than 24 residents have been forced to leave their homes. Sadly, one woman lost her life trying to rescue her pet as she was swept away in Orange County, New York, amid the catastrophic flooding there. Dramatic video shows rescue crews frantically trying to save other residents before cars were swallowed up by flash floods. Mike Cannon, program director for Vermont's Urban Search and Rescue Team, joins us now. So, Mike, we are hearing reports that Ludlow, Vermont is now impassable, completely cut off because of the rain and the storm damage. What can you tell us?
Ludlow is one of about a half a dozen communities that we have been unable to access due to the water levels and the amount of the damage that we're receiving.
So do you have the search and rescue assets and crews that you need? Can you just give us all the details possible about what you're doing at this moment and where your men and women are?
We've done about 50 boat rescues to date. We've got 12 in-state swiftwater rescue assets that have been working since 5 o'clock this morning. And we've got 2 large federal USAR teams. One is in place. The other is en route from New Jersey. The first one came out of Beverly, Massachusetts. And we've mutual aid requested from state to state swiftwater rescue teams from North Carolina. We have 2 in that are engaged right now. And we have a swiftwater rescue team coming from Michigan and from Connecticut. They are both en route. Their ETA is somewhere between 4 and 10 hours.
Sheesh.
That is incredible how you have all these SAR teams coming in from across the country. Have you been able to reach all your residents, and how are you plotting that out?
We have not been able to reach all of our residents. Vermont's a mountainous state. The Green Mountains run north to south. Our infrastructure transportation lines run over the mountains. All those transportation lines for 2/3 of the state are cut off right now. So our teams have to transverse those mountain ranges coming up from the south and working up north. I'll tell you, we had a tropical storm Irene in 2011. This will probably exceed that damage only because the rain has not let up. Hurricane Irene was a 11-inch dumping in 12 hours. This has been constant since 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and the rain has not let up.
Jesus.
Yes, it's not just the rain, right? It's the terrain. And you've been doing this for quite a long time, Mike. Have you ever seen anything like this before? And what more?
Fucking spoiler alert, he's going to say, no, we have not. And that's the thing. People will point a lot of times to like, what's really, everyone says it's going to be so terrible. And, I just don't really, it's just one flood, it's once in 1,000 years, once in 100 years. This isn't due to climate change. It's just, we're seeing more of these events. Let me see if I can find like a map. I'm kind of curious.
Do you need at this hour?
We've got capable resources coming in, and we've got capable resources on the ground. It's going to be dark soon. We're trying to get into as many communities as we can to assess the needs there. We've still got active rescues going on in a lot of our 2 southern counties. I've got 6 swiftwater rescue teams actively pulling people out of houses and vehicles. It's going to be a long night for us.
We wish you the best, Mike Cannon. We appreciate you just taking a few minutes out of your time to update us. Please keep us updated. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Jeez. Also, yeah, I said it earlier. I look at the footage and I can't help but this is kind of what I see. Like, this is obviously concept art, but actually, is this concept art? This might actually be game footage. But how long? How fucked is the downtown area is gonna be? God, I love that game. It's a good game. Anyway, I'm trying to look for a map. I don't really know what's a good resource to look for that sort of thing, because I want one that's comparative to how climate change affects extreme weather. Maybe this. Maybe. Let's take a look. Oh boy. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Maybe this will give us kind of an idea. Human influence found, no human influence found. Global studies. I don't even know what the hell. Record global temperatures 2015. Oh, is this oh, okay. Proportion of major. Oh, geez. Honest to God, I hardly know how to read this damn thing. Sheesh. What? Oh. Oops. Increased fire weather risk over Western 1970 to 2020. Both estimates 68% from the observation, 80% from models suggest that anthropogenic warning is the main cause for increased fire weather and provide likely range. Yep. Hurricane Katrina, Irma, and Maria. Yeah, this sort of stuff isn't. I just feel like if you take a holistic view, you zoom out a little bit and treat it all as one, because it's not while we do have regions with certain kinds of weather, when you see kind of everything increasing, in terms of severity. Great Barrier Reef record 2016, coral bleaching. I don't even know what that means. El Nino, yeah. It's just... Unfortunately, we've known about climate change. It's a real kick in the nads when you remember that what's their name? I think it was ExxonMobil already had scientists looking into the effects of climate change back in the 1970s and continued to move along. Mainly because it's going to make them money. That's what they're in the business for, to do. That's it. That being said, let's see. Should we look at the VA? Yeah. People want to make money. Let's look at some people wanting to make money. So the VA is a healthcare program for veterans, people who have served in the armed service and gotten out of it, and it's an opportunity for the government to, while they've trained them and put them in dangerous positions, to take care of them afterwards. Probably one of the most underfunded programs that we have, something that I think should absolutely be funded a lot more and should be, quite frankly, the style of funding and the style of care and service should probably go to all Americans. That's just me, though. But let's take a look. Funding for the Department of Veterans Affairs was one of many federal budget items that suddenly became uncertain during the debt ceiling showdown this spring. Despite their oft-professed love for veterans, House Republicans voted for the Limits Save Grow Act in late April, which would have cut VA spending by 22%. This threat to essential services and the appearance that former soldiers had become political pawns drew an angry response from veterans organizations, putting House Republicans on the defensive. In a May 11th opinion piece in Military Times entitled "Our Budget Cutting Plan Doesn't Harm Veterans," Veterans Affairs Committee Chair Rep. Mike Bost, reassured former service members that their, quote, earned benefits will never be scrutinized and, quote, their health care will never be compromised. The eventual debt ceiling deal preserved the VA budget, thanks in part to the public outcry. In a Wall Street Journal article, after the dispute was settled, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy boasted that Republicans were not only, quote, meeting our obligations to veterans, but fully funding their programs. On Capitol Hill, veterans' entitlements went in a matter of weeks from being a political football to a sacred cow once again, to the relief of many. But now, congressional leaders are signaling that any temporary ceasefire over veterans' health care and how to fund it is over. The Senate's Veteran Affairs Committee will soon be considering new bills that would force the VA-run Veterans Health Administration, or the VHA, to divert an even bigger share of its $128 billion annual budget from direct care to Medicare-style reimbursement of private sector doctors and hospitals enrolled in the Veterans Community Care Program, or VCCP, which was created by the Trump administration's Mission Act 5 years ago. Bipartisan fans of that privatization scheme are now trying to amend the Mission Act of 2018, which opened the floodgates for outsourcing in ways that would ensure they will never be closed. Leading the charge are right-wing Republicans and an embattled Democrat seeking re-election from Montana and a recently rebranded, quote, independent from Arizona, who has reeled in millions of dollars from Big Pharma and other healthcare industry donors. So let me read this again real quick. Senate Affairs Committee will also be considering new bills, force VA veterans to divert even bigger share of $128 billion budget from Medicare-style reimbursement of private sector doctors and hospitals enrolled in veterans, which was created. Wait. Divert an even bigger share if it's under from direct. Oh, from direct care. Oh, okay. So yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, because you can usually go to a VA hospital, but now it's going to be turned into like you just go to doctors and we just send the doctors monies, which basically means that there's going to be, so we have to take this in mind. If you are a veteran, right, and you need to go to a hospital for any kind of procedure, right? If you're a veteran, you go to the VA hospital, they take you in, they do whatever it is you need done. You're in, you're out, boom, bada bing, you're done, right? Because the government is running those hospitals. They are the ones who are like, they're not setting prices. They're not doing any of those things. Much like the post office, they're a service specifically for veterans. What they're moving towards is more of what Medicare does, which is reimbursement for medical care to hospitals, to private doctors, to specialists, to whatever. But, and here's the thing, not just big pharma, but also industry lobbyists have wanted for decades to get access to Veterans Affairs. These are people who have long-term, usually debilitating circumstances because of, fighting in wars and breathing in all sorts of noxious fumes and shit, and I'm sure a bunch of other things that the government doesn't tell us about. But, private healthcare insurers, or I shouldn't say insurers, private healthcare hospitals, I should say. Hospitals and doctors have wanted access to these people. Quite frankly, if you're a veteran, you are a gold mine for long-term care and for, the kinds of patients that doctors really want. They want you in, constantly coming in for checkups and everything else, right? And unfortunately, it seems like they're going to get their way a little bit on this. This will offer a little bit more freedom to the actual veterans. To a degree, I'm sure this will increase a bit of freedom with the ability that, you go wherever you need to go. There's not a need to go to a VA hospital specifically. But, and this is kind of the, this is a little bit of the dangerous part. With this move to a more Medicare style of care, with chopping off a bit of this more to go to a Medicare style, is going to end up costing the program more money. Hospitals, quite frankly, are going to charge at least a little bit more per service, certainly. So like their actual like budget is what I think is going to end up being at risk in a couple of years. Because when people go and look and they go, oh my goodness, like look how expensive this is. Or worse yet, what could happen is we could see, and we've talked about this before, we could see kind of the Walmart effect of this, which is to say, the private hospitals are going to undercut the prices of their services, to compete against the VA hospitals. And, as politicians try to make the argument that, oh, look, the private market is costing us less money and the care is just as good and everything else, right? What's going to happen is once the VA rolls into a fully privatized venue, you're then going to see prices join the rest of our prices. And now veterans are going to be subject to the exact same kind of predatory hospital practices that all the rest of us are, instead of being, quite frankly, protected at VA hospitals. This is, I think, going to put a little bit of that into danger. We won't know the effects of this for probably a year or two, but those are kind of my two big worries. The VA's Undersecretary of Health, Dr. Sharif Nahal, recently urged 9 million VHA patients to stick with their primary healthcare system because, quote, study after study shows that quality and patient safety is at least as good, if not better, than our private sector counterparts. The American Legion expressed the same sentiment when they called the VHA a system worth saving because of its unique enterprise and vet-centric culture. Now, because keep in mind, the VA, again, I mentioned the post office, is not about profit-seeking. The people who are running the VA are not interested in turning a profit on the healthcare of these veterans. They're only concerned primarily with the healthcare of these people. That's there is no extra level to it. For healthcare for veterans under the VA is decommodified, and the results are just as good of safety, just as good as quality, and it actually puts patients first. That professional advice will not be followed if Congress passes any part of Senate 1315, the Veterans Health Empowerment, Access, Leadership, and Transparency of Our Heroes, or the Health Act. God, these are so fucking stupid. Health, like veterans is health, okay. Empowerment, all right. Access, leadership, transparency, okay. Co-sponsored by Co-senator by piece of shit Kristen Sinema and Jerry Moran from Kansas. A companion bill in the House is sponsored by Representative Marionette, really? Miller Meeks, Republican from Indiana, or from Idaho? That's Idaho, right? Yeah, it's Idaho. Wow, look at that. Fucking Republican, and an independent. And John Tester, who chairs the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee, has yet to be named or numbered bill that reports indicate would similarly enrich 1.2 million federal contractors while not being much to improve their own service delivery as unnecessary competitors with almost 1,300 VHA facilities around the country. Sinema, Moran, and to some extent Tester all cater to the popular fantasy that VHA patients, unlike any other healthcare consumers in America, should be able to self-refer to doctors, hospitals, or clinics outside their own federally funded network. The in-house care delivered by the VHA, which has been constructed to serve very particular military-related health care needs, military-related healthcare needs. Supporters have constantly assured former service members that the resulting bill for a newly created private care program in 2023, over $40 billion, will be paid by the VA. At the time, they promised the VHA will have the money to adequately staff and maintain its own system so it can continue to provide all eligible veterans the high-quality care they originally signed up for. Paying simultaneously for in and out of system care is not a business model any reputable healthcare economist would ever endorse, not to mention any multi-state healthcare system seeking to avoid bankruptcy. Let's be honest there. And that's kind of the reason, right? Because Kirsten Sinema, John Tester, this other dumb fuck from Kansas, and this other dumb fuck from Iowa. That's kind of the point, right? This is how you know that Kirsten Sinema is like just a Republican. Like that's all she really is. She just wants to have the independent thing so she can be a unique little butterfly, and go whatever way her donors tell her. Because at the end of the day, everyone agrees that why would you have two different tracks competing against each other? Like, why would you cannibalize your budget to just go to a different, like, to go into a different bucket that you don't even like receive any from? You don't get anything out of it. It's just, oh yeah, we'll let the private market handle, like, you know, some of our patients. Why? No fucking clue. It's just because it's going to end up undermining and kind of leading to issues within the VA and the VA's funding and how they actually like operate at the end of the day. Like, this entire thing is a scheme to weaken the VA so that they can say, see, government can't do it right, we need to privatize it. That's the entire point of all of this. At Kaiser Permanente, for example, bean counters would quickly point out that steering Kaiser's slightly larger patient numbers with no threat of financial penalties to competitors in 8 states and the District of Columbia would soon lead to in-house service cuts, staff layoffs, and widespread facility closures. Let's see. Under the guise of expanding veteran choice, the Health Act would also, also, I read that and I was thinking about it. Also, this like weird idea, because where was it? Unlike any other healthcare consumers in America, VHA patients should be able to self-refer to doctors. So the question, and like, there's a reason why they always frame it in this way of like, hey, you know your healthcare. You're not a doctor, but you know your healthcare. You know what doctors you need to see, and it's always this like, I think like pandering ass kissery bullshit that like, oh yeah, the consumer knows what's best for them. The consumer can understand the decisions that they're making. Meanwhile, like, have you ever read the terms and conditions for literally anything you've ever signed up for? Netflix, Hulu, your actual phone operating system, you know, every app under the sun, you know, every EULA on like every fucking video game these days. Like, have you ever read the terms of service? No, because you're not a fucking lawyer, and they know that. That's why they put a whole bunch of stuff about stealing your data, stealing your you know, all your metadata, stealing you know, getting information about who you are, where your interests are, so that they can sell that information to advertisers and everybody else. Like, consumers do not have, and first of all, aren't doctors. Second of all, are not really capable, or like, do you think the average like military veteran has any fucking idea about like his specialists or any like his specialist field for like the knee or leg he got blown the fuck off? No. Like, at the end of the day, healthcare kind of requires a lot of education. It's not something that you can just kind of have like your generalized opinion on. Having the wrong opinion or being tricked into having the wrong opinion can have dire consequences, such as you going to not just the wrong kind of doctors, but like not even asking the proper questions of the doctors you even go to. Like, I'm sorry, but like, people aren't doctors, and like, to have an understanding of your own healthcare requires quite a lot of understanding of how the healthcare system works, and even how like just healthcare in general, like the medicine works. And I just don't think Americans, veteran or not, are really that savvy. If anything, they're going to get tricked by every other corporation to sign away their rights. But anyway, hi. We'll keep an eye on this. What is this? Senate 1315. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on this. Oh my god. All right. Should we head into the yes. Should we head into the legally distinct fun half? I think it's about that time. Yeah, it's 8:01. All right, so we'll be back in a second. Let's yeah, let's just head into the let's just go. Let's go.
Could not shop at Target, or else you're gay.
Spit in my mouth, look in my eyes.
Just to simplify this, I think we're just going to use.
I may keep the pantyhose on. This feels kind of good, actually.
Larger than that, Charlie. I live like a capitalist every single day. Beat it up, N-word.
What is more important to our culture than the Joker? I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
I like black guys a lot.
The alpha males are back.
All right, and we are back. You know, it's funny. I was checking my phone. I forgot to drink my usual water. All right, Jonah Hill. Yeah, Jonah Hill. Yep. Seems to be something that people are talking about. People are interested in. Okay, so I guess not that I really have what's the word? A lot of I shouldn't say skin in the game, but I just don't really have that much bought into this story. But apparently Jonah Hill, it seems like broke up with his girlfriend, and she posted their texts online, and it's become discourse. So I don't know. Let's find out. I'm told that he has a point, and I've also been told that, or I've also seen that she has a point. I've seen, so let's see if we can get a feeling here. We'll go to our resident relationship expert here, Ben Shapiro.
I'm not a big fan of the actor Jonah Hill, but an ex-girlfriend of his is now coming out of the woodwork to accuse him of brutality and vicious evil. Why? Because he texted her some stuff that, is kind of not, amazing, but also not that bad. Jonah Hill, I'm not a
All right. Turning you down there, Ben.
huge fan. I don't think he's like an amazing actor or anything.
Really?
But there's now
Have you... Wait, really? Really, Ben? He probably thinks he's woke. Never mind.
an attempt to cancel Jonah Hill that I just don't really fully understand. I got to admit, I just got to say, I don't
You
really
and me
get
too,
it.
Ben. We're both
According
in the
to
same
the
boat on
Washington
this one.
Post, on Friday,
I have no fucking
Surfa
clue.
Sarah Brady posted screenshots on her Instagram and accused her ex-partner, Jonah Hill, of misogyny and emotional abuse. In the text Brady shared, a person whose number she saved under the name Jonah asked her to take down social media posts, stop modeling, and cut off friendships with some men and, quote, women who are in unstable places.
Oh, that seems
She
kind
said
of
Friday she hopes Hill's friends will hold him accountable.
interesting.
And that her posts were a warning to all girls. Apparently, according to the Washington Post, in one text Brady posted from Jonah, she says he wrote that if she, quote, needed surfing with men, boundaryless, inappropriate relationships.
Okay. I've seen the picture. I mean, I glanced at it, but I have seen the picture. Where's the Jonah? Was it Jonah? Text photos, I guess. Sure. I want to see the actual thing. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Plain and simple. If you need surfing with men, boundaryless, inappropriate friendships with men. I don't really know what that. Okay. To model. Well, that is a job. To post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit. I think people have the right. To post sexual pictures. Is that different from the previous two? Friendship with women who are in unstable places and from your wild recent past beyond getting a lunch or coffee or something respectful. Okay. So having friends that you don't like? Okay. I am not the right partner for you. If these things bring you to a place of happiness, I support it and there will be no hard feelings. These are my boundaries for romantic partnership. My boundaries with you based on the ways these actions have hurt our trust. Interesting. Okay. Let's kind of go over these a little bit. Okay. Do I think that spelling out your boundaries, whatever they might be, are a bad thing? Not at all. I actually think that this message in maybe the beginning of like a relationship, something where like, you know, you start seeing somebody and there's a few things that you're like, ooh, I'm not sure about. And you want to communicate, hey, these are things that I'm not comfortable with. If you want to engage with them, then this isn't, this isn't going to be a relationship that's fruitful for both of us. I think that's actually really reasonable. And also like being open and being honest about, your boundaries and like where like kind of your I guess head is at in the relationship, or like what you're looking for in a relationship. Being open and honest about that, I actually think is a pretty good thing. You know, it's sometimes also really hard for us as you know, as people, especially if you're looking for, you know, a girlfriend or something like that. It's kind of hard to be honest about that sort of stuff because there are so many different expectations as to what you should allow, what you shouldn't be allowing, what you should be okay with, what you shouldn't be okay with, how you should be acting around in certain situations. And I think making it really clear that these are the behaviors that like aren't that I don't appreciate or whatever. I think that's fine. I can think that they're like, if you ask me about these specific ones, these are really overbearing. You know, surfing with men. Well, quite frankly, you know, I think people have a right to surf with whoever they want to surf with. Boundaryless, inappropriate friendships with men. Well, when it comes to that, that's one of those. All right, is this person emotionally or physically cheating on you? Then say that. But boundaryless, inappropriate friendships with men just kind of sounds like you want to say cheating, but like you'd be lying if you said cheating, so you don't. I kind of don't take a lot of I don't really take that point that seriously. That seems pretty honest to God, that seems pretty it seems more insecure than anything else, which is going to be a running theme, I notice. To model, well, I don't know if Jonah Hill knows this. You know, he's an actor. He's certainly modeled things before while, you know, throughout his career. I don't really think it's all that reasonable to, you know, say, oh, you can't model. Again, if you want to lay this out ahead of time, that's fine. But like, that's on, you know, this is kind of the second level of analysis on this. To post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit. Well, again, I kind of think people get to post pictures of themselves however they feel. If they want to post a picture of themselves wearing baggy jeans, they have a right to. If they want to post a picture of themselves wearing a bathing suit, I think they have a right to do that. Same with any other article of clothing. I don't really think this is something that that a non-insecure significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, should be engaging in. I think this is really controlling. Friendships with women who are unstable. Okay, this is friendships with people I don't like, which, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. You're not always going to like your girlfriend's friends. I can't help you with that one. That's just a, you know, you have to respect that. That's one of those where you need to respect the other person's like independent existence. And that's kind of the running theme through all of this, right? Because I said earlier, is it okay? Is it good to lay out your boundaries within a relationship, you know, in the early stages? Yes, I think being this direct and this open about the things that make you feel insecure, nervous, or otherwise unhappy with the relationship is also all good. Unfortunately, what this is getting into territory-wise is, and what this reads to me, is somebody who is honestly really insecure and unable to have a mature adult relationship with another person, quite frankly. Because this amount of like very specific kind of control over somebody, how they present to others, the way that they present out to the public, the people that they hang around, the job that they have, the friends or the acquaintances that they have. These are all like, I read all of these, and all of these feel like, stop making me insecure by you going out and living your life. you being a whole different person outside of our relationship makes me insecure. And that's something that, like, as a guy, like, Jonah Hill might have to work on. But, like, you know, it doesn't really, you know, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, kind of work on that. Be a little less insecure on that one. And we all have insecurities. There's nothing wrong with having insecurities. It's totally natural. It's a thing that everybody suffers from. But being an adult, being a grown-up is a bit about, like, overcoming those and learning where you're getting in your own way or where you're being unreasonable to other people. But yeah. So let's hear so that aside, let's continue here with Ben.
Relationships with men, to model, to post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit, to post sexual pictures.
It's like
friendships
crazy to
with
me
women who
that
are in
he's
unstable
not
places,
on
and from your wild recent
2
past
times
beyond
speed.
getting a lunch or coffee or something respectful, I'm not the right partner for you.
Like, I'm not,
I have a
right?
question.
I'm
Why-
not on.
Am I supposed to be, like, deeply offended by this? If you don't like...
Why is the gear not popping up?
Alrighty, folks, so I'm not a big fan of the actor
There it
Jonah
is.
Hill, but an ex-girlfriend of his is now coming
I'm
out of the
not.
woodwork to accuse him of brutality and
Wait,
vicious
am I?
evil.
Wait,
Why?
no, I'm
'Cause
on
he texted her
normal.
some stuff that, you know, and cut off friendships with some men and, quote, women, number she saved under the name Jonah, asked her to take down social media posts, stop modeling, and cut off friendships with some men and, quote, women who are in unstable places. She said Friday she
Isolate
hopes
them.
Hill's friends will hold him accountable and that her posts were a warning to all girls. Apparently, according to the Washington Post, in one text Brady posted from Jonah, she says he wrote that if she, quote, needed surfing with men, boundaryless, inappropriate relationships with men, to model, to post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit, to post sexual pictures, friendships with women who are in unstable places, and from your wild recent past beyond getting a lunch or coffee or something respectful, I'm not the right for you. And they weren't. So they broke up. Now you can say that's demanding. I would admit, first of all, I don't think that
It's
much of
definitely
that is wildly
pretty
demanding.
insecure.
Right? Boundaryless, surfing with men, I mean, she's a professional surfer. So that one seems wild, but
Wait, she's a professional surfer? Then what the fuck are we complaining? Wait. I didn't even know that detail. Okay, first of all, if she's a professional surfer, that means the surfing part and the whole, like, posting pictures of herself in a bathing suit is, like, newt. Like, my guy. That's like asking you to not, like, post pictures, or not even ask. That's like somebody demanding you not post anything about your acting career. Like, come on.
what he means is really the next one, right? Boundaryless, inappropriate relationships with men.
Which means,
I mean, I think it would be very hard to date a woman who had boundaryless, inappropriate relationships with men.
also keep in mind, like, and I said this earlier when we first read it, but, like, what is if he means cheating? Why didn't he just say cheating? Like, do you notice that? Do you notice he had to say boundaryless relationships? Well, again, if you wanted to say that your partner cheated, just say that they cheated. But boundaryless sounds like a boundary that you think was crossed, so anything's possible. You just sound insecure. Like your girlfriend goes to lunch in the gym with her, like, I don't know, some friend of hers that's a man, and you got, like, really upset that you both went to the gym together, and you went like, well, you go to the gym together, there are no boundaries, you can just be fucking for all I know. And, like, it's like, oh, calm down, it's the gym, calm down.
When he says posting pictures of yourself in a bathing suit, you know, again, she's a surfer, so I imagine that a lot of the pictures on her Instagram are of her in a bathing suit, but there is, you know, kind of an inherent difference between you surfing in a bathing suit or you modeling on the beach in a bathing suit. Not quite the same thing. She posts sexual pictures. That seems fair. How many dudes want their girlfriends to post sexual pictures of themselves online for the pleasure?
Fucking every single guy wants every single one. So I'm so tired of this. It's actually really funny because, like, there are so many guys who are so fucking insecure who, like, will be like, oh my god, oh my god, my girlfriend posts another hot ass picture and people on the internet think that she's also hot. Man, that makes me so insecure. It's really weird. Like, guys, like fellas out there, if your girlfriend is attractive and they post on social media and everything else, I get it. It's a bit weird, but, like, understand the dynamic is almost no different than, like, every time you go outside or go to a public venue and there are other guys around. Like, chill out. Like, they're dating you. Find some security in that, for God's sakes.
Of men, friendships with women who are in unstable places, and from your wild recent past. Again, that
Wild
doesn't
recent
seem like
past.
horrible advice. It seems like nobody should have.
Well, it's
you know,
not.
friendships with people
That's
who are
not
in a truly
advice,
unstable place.
Benny
It
boy.
helps bring them down.
That's a bit of a demand.
Brady also shared a text she sent, including a list of all the posts I removed from my page, to which she allegedly responded, "Good start." She uploaded a picture Friday she said previously took down by the request of a narcissistic misogynist. Presumably that was supposed to be directed at Jonah Hill. But I don't know, like, we've now expanded the boundaries of victimization beyond the normal. I don't actually understand what the boundaries.
What does he mean? Well, what do you mean? You're a victim. Wait. You're a victim when somebody fucking, like, shoots a fucking spitball at you in class. Like, you're still a victim. The boundaries for victimhood is pretty low. Like, the standard is rather low. And, like, when people are in, like, kind of toxic relationships with narcissists, yeah, I'd say they're a victim of that relationship. That I think that's a pretty fair assessment.
Of victimization are if this stuff qualifies. Your partner says, "I wish you wouldn't do X." You wish to do X. Does this mean that your partner is necessarily abusive? Especially when he's like, well, maybe it's not going to work out.
Well, it's not really it's not really like an ass thing. It was pretty like, hey, these are the boundaries. And it doesn't really seem like those came from like again, I don't know how long they were dating for, but like this didn't come off as like let me be clear about my issues or my insecurities in our relationship. This was do these things, which also, by the way, again, are pretty isolating. Don't post things that I don't like on your social media. Well, I don't really, it's their social media. I think they kind of have a right to their own social media account. And it's more indicative of a controlling narcissist. That's what it's more indicative of. You can say like, oh, like he's allowed to say what he does and doesn't want in his relationship. That's fine. But we can also criticize what he is looking for. How many times do we hear of, relationships with people where like one of them is incredibly controlling, incredibly toxic, and that might be the thing that they like in their relationship. That doesn't make it really good. Now, does it? It's like, I don't really see how this is difficult, but
just confused by that. It doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense to me.
We know, Ben.
Was he possessive? Okay, maybe.
Seems like it.
Is that something that women would want in a boyfriend? Presumably not. She broke up with him.
Do you think possessiveness is a bad thing?
Like, why are internal negotiations between partners when it comes to your love life now subject to public negotiation? If you don't like it, you can leave. He wasn't in a position of superior power over her.
What? Wait. Jonah Hill? Like famous actor and director Jonah Hill was not in a more powerful position than whoever this chick is, who I literally don't know her name. Like, come on, Ben, come on, don't be stupid, don't be dumb.
And then she did leave, so I'm super confused. Yeah, I don't understand even what the argument is for her posting this stuff in the first place. Presumably, she thinks that this is going to make her a girl boss. That being a girl boss, it is amazing how being a girl boss shifted from what it was, say, 30 years ago to what it is now. So when you were like 30 years ago, being a girl boss meant being a girl who is the boss. So by this definition, my mom was a girl boss, right? She rose from being a secretary at a corporation to being the executive vice president of that corporation. She was a girl boss. And you know what that girl boss did? She then came home at night and she helped take care of her kids. That was girl bossing. Girl bossing was being a girl who is the boss. Now apparently girl bossing is whining and moaning.
I'm going to be fine with your jokes. Well,
Wait, when did she say anything? I mean, I know he said presumably because he wants to talk about girl bosses, but like, Ben, this has nothing to do with what you're talking about. This isn't a girl boss moment. This is one person posting about their relationship with Jonah Hill because, I don't know, I don't really know what the motivating factor was. I'm assuming it was them, considering they posted, they reposted a photo that they had previously taken down, and they were kind of taking back their own, individual identity, then I'd say that Jonah Hill suffered from what basically everybody does. Like, how many people, right? How many people, normal people, are in normal relationships and will like sub post the other person after they break up, like will kind of like low key talk shit and it's like for their friends and stuff. Like, everybody does this when you get out of a toxic and like controlling relationship. The first thing you're going to do is like kind of announce in a way, or at the very least, like engage in the activities that the controlling partner, was restricting you from doing. You're gonna go out there and be like, oh yeah, cool, here we go. And most likely, people probably knew she was dating Jonah Hill and probably had questions, or were like, hey, like, you were dating Jonah Hill, and let's be honest, the internet is the internet. So I'm sure she got a lot of people asking her, hey, what do you mean by had to take this down because of a narcissist? Are you talking about Jonah Hill, your former boyfriend? Da, 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 da. And she posts what posts. I at the end of the day, this is, to me, a bit of cost of doing business in terms of being in a relationship and being famous. Don't be shitty. And that's what happened to you.
I'm going to be fine with your...
Why does it keep playing that? Play this.
Text you didn't
Jesus.
like 4 years ago.
Good God.
And this makes you a hero to young women everywhere. The more you can claim...
Wait, did they break up 4 years ago? Is that true? No, I'll just take it over here. Jonah Hill. I guess I don't know this person's name. Sarah Brady. Okay. Sarah Brady. Let's see. Gaslighting may be in a relationship that started in 2021 and ended sometime in 2022. Okay, so okay. Absent being emotionally abusive and weaponizing therapy talk. Interesting.
Victimization.
Okay, so it wasn't 4 years. Just making sure.
You didn't like isn't victimization. Honest to God, if every spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend in the United
Also, it's not sending. It's the content of the text message that's like toxic. It's also not. It doesn't make you a victim. The content makes you a victim. You're being like victimized in the relationship. Like it's like an abusive relationship to a degree. But yeah, like it's just manipulative. Also, it's like really shitty behavior in a relationship.
United States, were just to post the text they don't like from their spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend.
Happens all the time, by the way.
The myriad texts that they didn't like would be endless. I have yet to find a relationship between two people where no one has ever said anything to the other person that they found offensive or annoying. Welcome to human relationships.
Right. And so because it's a celebrity, we should care about it less? Like, okay. And keep in mind, if there was any kind of like woke angle to any of this, if Jonah Hill was like some crazy leftist or something, you can bet your bottom dollar that Ben Shapiro will want to talk about how like the woke left have ruined relationships and all the rest of the shit. So like, keep in mind.
So it's kind of ugly that this has become the new way that you gain credibility, is by years later coming back
keep
at
in mind,
your ex-boyfriend and saying
like
that he was super controlling and super
probably
terrible.
Less than a year.
I don't get it at all. It
Well,
makes no
considering
sense to
that
me.
person like is famous,
even if you agree
and
with her,
people
I don't
will
see the actual case.
people will rush into relationships with famous people. I think it's a bit of a public service to put people's if you find it necessary to be like, hey, be aware that this is what you're walking into. I think that's fair.
This sort of stuff is quote unquote a warning to others. Who's watching this and going, oh man, that's really true. I'm too controlled. It's just
it's
again,
probably
an
helpful
aspect
to
of a
see
narcissistic culture
for people who are in denial.
Everybody is a victim for the claps and the cheers and the clicks. You may have seen.
Oh my God. Okay, so Ben Shapiro's like, how dare you acknowledge that relationships can be toxic and not healthy? That might inform other people about how toxic and unhealthy their relationships are. Which is just a wild take. I mean, I can't say I'm like super surprised either. Like I'm not shocked by that, but still. Let's see. Let's do this. This before I do that. Okay, cool. But yeah, it's just weird. Like I get it, the whole like obsession with celebrity, culture and everything. And like, I don't really specifically care about the incident. What I more care about is the possible impact that it can have on other people and their behavior, and hopefully kind of shine a light a little bit on the dynamics of toxic relationships. And that's like the actual important thing, is that people, because when people see people that they recognize from movies, from media, from whatever, and they see them experience these sorts of things, it helps them frame where they are. So, you know, it won't shock me if there's like, you know, if there's one person out there who goes, wow, like that's how my boyfriend talks to me. Oh my God, am I like, sometimes we can recognize, we're better at recognizing harm towards others than we are recognizing harm to ourselves. It's just, we're not always, you know, we're always ready to give the other person, I think, the benefit of the doubt in terms of, you know, like in our relationships. We're always, you know, because we kind of have an obligation, or we feel an obligation to that relationship. That's why. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, at the end of the day, this specific little episode with Jonah Hill will hopefully, you know, wake up some people to the relationship that they're in, or maybe their friends, or just kind of make them more aware of the of that kind of behavior going forward. And I think that's a good thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that whatsoever. But anyway, so what do we got next up? Oh yes, okay. So I have done. We've watched a few of you know, Patrick Bet David, or PBD. We've watched a few of their stuff. Sam Cedar went on their program to I guess debate him, sort of. It was kind of a debate, I guess. And I tend to like, this dude gets quite a lot of views on this video. 708,000, 4.46 million subscribers. I want to kind of take a look at the comment section actually really fast before we get into this video. I lost all my lifelong friends last year because I said kids going to drag shows was weird, and was genuinely asking why they thought it was okay. Instead of getting answers, I got called a racist, transphobe, conservative, when I've been liberal as hell my whole life. I always supported LGBT till they started trying to get kids involved. It's a sexual, in all caps, movement. Why are kids involved in anything sexual? Has everybody lost their minds? Oh, I love, oh my God, 3.3 thousand up, or thumbs up too. I love comments like this a lot. So, okay, let's think about this. So, is this person a troll? Probably. Let's be honest. Probably. I've heard this exact story so many times now. I just can't help but be like, to just default to the point that they're a troll. But let's kind of address a little bit of that, right? If you are, if you're a lifelong supporter of the LGBTQ movement, and then you're asking the question of like, why are kids going to drag shows, right? If you're a leftist, if you're a progressive, such as myself, I implore you to approach normal people in the normal world a lot differently than you're going to approach a comment section. Do not jump down their throat with a lot of the like, the framing questions, and a lot of the like, I think more like political, back and forthing on them. Just answer their questions in an honest and a normal way. That's like the best advice I can give everybody. I've had a couple people on who've been kind of trans skeptical, and mostly they have like questions about like this or that, like why are kids going to these? And it always comes down to, because parents need to take their kids to entertaining events, and there are drag shows that are family friendly, the same way there are family friendly versions of a lot of things that adults partake in, so that parents can get a night out and they can take their kids, and their kids will be entertained, and everyone can have a good time. That's kind of the entire point of family friendly drag shows. And like, again, people get really like, oh, but isn't drag sexual? Well, yes and no. It kind of depends, doesn't it? Because drag is a long, an old tradition from like, British comedy and really just dressing up in women's clothing and acting ridiculous is kind of like a comedy act to a degree. It's a form of like art and expression, I guess one could say. It doesn't have to be sexual. It certainly can. Nobody's saying that it can't, but the same way that wearing clothes can be sexual and can very many times not be very sexual. So, the drag show stuff is always just a wedge issue, and recognize that as a wedge issue. And the best thing you can do as a response is to sand down that wedge into something that's a lot less extreme, something that's like, oh, okay, like it was, because most of these people hear it and it's framed to them in such a crazy, insane way. And when you really talk to somebody about it, they're like, oh, okay, I take my kids to a wrestling show, and people, and there's like way less clothing going on with the profession, and like going to see your local independent wrestling promotion than you're going to see going to a drag show. It's just, it's not that significant, and it's not really that sexual either. The same way that there are those like little sexual jokes in kids movies, so that it'll go over the kids' it'll go over the kids' head, parents will get it, helps them kind of enjoy the movie a little bit more. Same kind of concept. Anyway, Patrick Bet David, podcaster, really enthusiastic capitalist, has found or learned he's exposed the shocking history of the LGBTQ movement, even though, I mean, a bit nervous for this, but let's get into it, shall we?
What have we learned the last few years of censorship canceling about religions? You can't say anything about Muslim, okay? They're not tolerant when it comes down to bashing their religion. You can't say anything about Judaism. If you do, you could potentially get canceled.
Well, yeah. I mean, generally, people are pretty emotional about their religions, right? Like, people take that shit pretty seriously. Also, let's be clear here. While Judaism is not some kind of special, is not some special religion that gets special protections just because it's Judaism. The reason why we treat Judaism with a certain amount of, I think, from a certain defensive posture is because of this thing called the Holocaust and this thing called anti-Semitism that runs abound through a lot of cultures and around the world. It's kind of a problem. Yeah, I just, just a thought. I just think it's kind of a problem. It's not good. It's kind of bad. And it's led to some really, really, what's the word? Some really, really dangerous, I think, explanations for why the world is where it is. And like, you get into like, who's running the world and New World Order stuff, and you get into some weird territory. But anyway, continue.
All over the place, but say anything you want about Christianity, and it's like, it's okay. You can make a comedy thing, a skit, make fun of them. They're totally fine.
Well, in America, yeah. Certainly in America, yes. And there's kind of a reason for that. We're a secular nation. The reason why Islam doesn't have that same kind of, you don't see a lot of comedies like making fun of Islam is mainly because Islam isn't a very prominent religion in this country. It's not really known well enough to make jokes about that people would understand. That's A. B, over in Saudi Arabia, it's not exactly a good idea to make comedies about Islam. And that would be the place where you would make comedies about Islam. And I already explained the reason why Judaism. In terms of Christianity, because we have I believe Christianity is what the plurality of Americans are Christian. I don't know what the number is these days, but majority of people who are religious are Christian in the United States, meaning that you get an incredibly wide range of approaches, of demeanors, of understandings, of comfort with that said religion. Christianity is part of like kind of American culture in the same way that like KFC is. It's just kind of there, and it's pretty persistent, but it means that it's a lot less special to people. Certainly not everybody. There are people who take Christianity very, very seriously, but you know, as a nation, we have a pretty loose relationship with the religion, because again, our country's also not based upon that religion. Whereas again, in some countries in the Middle East, it's not quite the same, and you're also not. I think there is a little bit more of a militant approach to Islam in those parts of the world compared to here in the U.S. Here in the U.S., it's become structuralized a lot more. Anyway. Continue.
Because Christians are known for being the most tolerant
Untrue.
religion. And in America,
Untrue.
Christians have been like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And finally
Have
they're saying,
they?
I am no longer okay. You're pushing the envelope with my kids, and I'm sick of it. And they're starting to...
Keep in mind there are Christian groups that have helped fund the anti-gay laws in Uganda. Uganda passed, I believe it was earlier this year, passed basically the no gays in public law with the help of right-wing Christian political affiliates.
To find them.
And they've been doing that around the
here.
world
I
for
got a
quite a
bunch
while.
Of polls from Gallup. I got studies on black Democrats versus white Democrats on how they stand towards LGBTQ, transgender, same-sex marriage.
Oh my
We're going to look
goodness.
at some of the most tolerant countries in the world towards same-sex marriage. We're also going to hear a message from Malcolm X on what he had to say many years ago.
Oh my God, he's
which
got Malcolm X on the
for some of you
horn?
are going to listen to say, holy flippin' moly. But we're definitely going to touch this uncomfortable issue of
Whoa,
same-sex marriage
whoa.
in this episode.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Now, what I don't understand also is why an economics guy, or, you know, let's be honest, he's a stonks guy. He's a stonks guy, kind of gives me the vibe of like a timeshare guy as well. Why he's diving into cultural politics. I don't know why. I'm assuming it's because at this point he understands that he needs to, you know, as a YouTuber, he needs to engage in a lot of this stuff because this is the stuff that gets clicks. But also, like, you know, this is the content that you got to make if you want to like brush up against politics. And so, you know, I mean, I get it. I guess that's why. The economics of the culture war. Dark history. Oh boy.
Kind of like looking at saying, is Pat really going into this? I am. By the way, if you get value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. But
I'm going to be fine with your jokes.
I don't know why that keeps playing. Oh wait, is that is it binded to that? Oh, that might be why. Okay. I was always wondering. Also, God damn it, stop.
Episode.
I don't know why it keeps like okay, I have two screens, right? So it's this one and this one. And I don't know why I'm like clicking on this one, but like my inputs go to this one. It's fucking stupid. Oh yeah, let's downvote really quickly. Let's thumbs down just to be shits and then continue. All right.
A Gallup poll came out recently saying fewer in U.S. say same-sex relations more
I remember this poll.
acceptable. Now, Gallup is not left, it's not right, it's in the middle, similar to Pew Research. Here's what they have to say. They had a lot of different issues to see the plus minus, such as birth control, divorce, you know, having a baby outside of marriage, gambling, death penalty, abortion. Everything is there, but the one...
If I remember correctly, it actually dropped, if I remember correctly, 14 points for Republicans and like 6 points, I want to say, for Democrats.
One that had the biggest plus minus was gay or lesbian relations. We went from 2022, 71% being okay with it, to a drop of 7% now down to 64%, which, by the way, even Democrats went from 85% to 79%,
a drop.
saying they're okay with same-sex marriage.
Wait.
It's
What
kind
were,
of strange when you look at this, right? So
wait, what were Republicans at?
4%, which, by the way, even Democrats
Republicans were at, looks like 50-ish?
went from 85% to 79%.
I can't really tell what that number is
saying they're
supposed to
okay
be.
With same-sex marriage. This is
It
kind of
looks like
strange
it's
when you
close to
look at
60,
this,
but I
right?
can't tell.
So we said, let's look at this even a little bit more. How did this happen? Did we all of a sudden become more conservative? Did we all of a sudden as a nation say, no, we're not okay with this? I don't know.
Well, it could be that we see stories in the news all the time, turning, and let's be fair here. Let's be really clear. We have seen over the last, year or 2 years, that the Republican Party has turned trans identity, the existence of being trans, into a political debate. It's gone from being these people exist to, which, by the way, they've always existed. They've existed for easily the last 10 years, but only now do they need to, win elections, and you got to find the next thing to hyper focus and obsess about. So it became trans people this time. Next time it'll be gay people, maybe. Next time it'll be black people. Who fucking knows? I don't know. But it's really clear that like the percent dropped because there is a concerted effort by anti-LGBT groups, by Christian fundamentalists to, and I say Christian specifically because those are going to be the groups that have power in this country. It's also, keep in mind, the reason why we mentioned earlier why Islam and Judaism also don't get the same kind of like treatment in terms of like getting made fun of. I don't even know what the metric is. I don't think you could point to a metric anyway. But even if I take that at face value, keep in mind, Christianity is the most dominant religion in this country, meaning that it's a lot less, meaning that you're not punching down, you're punching up when you're punching at, when you're making jokes or you're deriding like Christianity specifically in the United States. Sorry, just checking to make sure my AC is nice and cold or has enough water to make it through the rest of the stream. What was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, moving on.
No, but there's definitely some things to go even deeper on to take a look at. Another Gallup poll came out with the following question. Do you think gays or lesbians should or should not be hired for each of the following occupations? There's a bunch of them. I'm only going to touch a few of them.
Oh, also keep in mind, like, why should I care about any of these things?
Armed forces. In 1977, it was 51%. Yes, they should.
Oh my God. So in the
1970s, 38% said no. Then in 1999, that 51 went to 70. In 2019, that 51 went to 83%. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, fine. Armed forces. Number two, doctors went from 44% in 1977 to 75% in 1999 to now 91%, which means we don't care if somebody's a gay doctor or a straight doctor.
Okay.
America's okay with that. Next, clergy. These are
I'm going to be
pastors.
fine with
1977,
Motherfucker.
36%.
Every time.
1999, 54%.
What I want to know, with all of this said, all these numbers, why do I care? No, really. The question becomes at the end of the day, why should I care if the American people feel that gay people or any other identity should be allowed into anything? They are part of the society. They pay taxes. They should have all the same rights that you and I have. Plain and simple.
Today, 72%. 72% are okay if the pastor is gay. Okay, that's America. Next, elementary school teachers, okay, which is where your kids are going to be around. 1977 was 27%. 1999, 54%. Today, 81%. By the way, so some of you say, Pat, who cares if the elementary school teacher is a gay teacher or not? Well, if they are, your kids are around it. If you're okay with that, great. If you're not, no problem. But
do you think he holds that opinion for black people? Because let's be clear, in the 1960s, during desegregation, there were absolutely parents. There were parents groups who would oppose segregation because they didn't want their kids being around black kids, didn't want to be around black students, black teachers. Is this like, this is where the question of parental rights runs up against the betterment for the children. Quite frankly, if you want to shield your child from other racial groups, from other racial identities, you have all the right to homeschool them. But you do not have the right to impose that kind of idiotic, discriminatory practice onto the rest of our society. You can stay in your little bubble. Please fuck off to it. But the rest of us would like to live normal life where we can all coincide and get along with people who don't have the same melanin count as we do. It's really fucking weird. And again, for whatever reason, gay people apparently are if somebody says, look, I just don't want my kids being around black people and black teachers, because what if they teach them something that I don't like black people being equal or something? What if my kid starts to believe that black people are equal to white people? What do I do then? The end of the day, yeah, that would seem pretty unreasonable. And we would all say wow, that's not good at all. Why would I take that person's opinion? I hold the same thing for this. Why do I care? If there are people who don't want their kids being around gay people, deal with it. There are gay people who live on this planet. Fucking deal with it.
That's how America feels about it. By the way,
And I don't think it's
I can tell you
beneficial
from
to
multiple families I talk
kids'
to locally,
education
there's a big
to not
private
know that
school
gay
here
people
that's around
exist.
$50,000 per year, K through 12. So many parents are taking their kids out of the school because they've crossed the line on way
Oh yeah, I
too
didn't
much
hear any of that.
LGBTQ
Although I heard
pride.
like $50,000 a year, so that's probably a
around
private
50,000
school. Which how many
around it. If
how many people do you think who watch these videos think can afford private school?
Okay, with that, great. If you're not, no problem. But that's how America feels about it. By the way, I can tell you from multiple families I talk to locally, there's a big private school here that's around $50,000 per year, K through 12. So many parents are taking their kids out of the school because they've crossed the line on way too much LGBTQ pride and trying to impose it on the students. And a lot of
Well, what does he mean impose? Are they like, Johnny, you are going to make out with Timmy over there? Like that, is that happening in private schools? If anything, it would bolster my argument that private schools are shit and we shouldn't have them. But something tells you that that's probably not happening. Most likely what's happening is a gay teacher put up a pride flag and then a parent freaked out because they're a homophobe. That's probably what more likely happened.
A lot of parents are saying, listen, you're not what you used to be 20 years ago. Even though I went here, I'm taking all my kids out, and they're leaving to different schools.
Cool.
Right
Fuck
around
private
the corner.
schools.
I hear this locally, and I bet this is happening all across the
Oh
country
man,
as
the
well.
poor
Now,
rich,
next
the poor
question
rich
from
just
Gallup.
sending
You
their
ready?
kids to another
In your
wealthy
view,
school.
Is being gay or lesbian something a person is born with, or due to factors such as upbringing and environment? Look.
So, okay, this is another one. Why do I give a shit? Because this is, again, the science has settled this. There isn't like, there isn't any dispute on this in terms of the actual science of gender and sexuality. This is an open and shut case. Whether people believe that or not I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care if the American people believe that being gay is a choice. They're wrong. And I'm not about to advocate for the rights of Americans being infringed upon because a few people can't acknowledge or take in new information that they find inconvenient. Sorry, this is not interested in that.
How much this has changed since 1977. In 1977, only 13% said this is something you're born with. 56% said you're gay because of your environment. In 1999, that 13 went to 34%, and the environment went down to 40%. And then I'll bring it to today, born with 49%, environment 32%.
Cool.
So
that's
from
people's
1977,
unscientific
which was roughly 45,
opinions.
46 years ago to today, we went from 13%, you think you're born with it, you're not, to 49%. Yeah, about half the country says you're born this way. That's a pretty big difference just in 45 years. Here's another controversial one that some people are uncomfortable talking about. I'm proud of the fact that Gallup's actually doing these kinds of surveys. Do you think
Oh yeah, it's Gallup. They do surveys. That's like their whole thing. Okay.
gays and lesbians should or should not be allowed to adopt children? 1977, 14%. Today, 75%. Should gays and lesbians be allowed to adopt children? Just 45 years ago, we're not okay with it. Today, 75%
So what are we getting
is
at?
okay with it. Some will say, well, you think it's a bad idea? How about all these kids that need a place to live? Who cares who gets them, whether they're gay or straight? Fine. Some people say, do you see about all these other arrests that are coming out with gay parents that are adopting kids and what's happening to these kids?
Is that, well, I'm sorry, do we have an epidemic of that? Or are you blindly like pointing to like a few very specific, very publicized events? Like, again, at the end of the day, if he had a chart on how many how many like negative households for adopted kids are gay versus straight, do you really think like don't you think he would just put that up instead of kind of just like, you know, motioning at a, you know, assumed number of abusive gay parents? Like, I'd be open to seeing the stats, but I feel like if anybody had the stats, I would have already heard about them already. So,
yeah, but that doesn't happen all the time. Either way, there's an argument for both sides. So now
wait, no, oh my God. I hate this. And you know why? Because this is flattening of like actual statistics. This is taking polling data and then saying people think X and some people think X, some people think Y. Now, do we know which one is a more valid and scientifically like verifiable fact? No. They're just opinions that people have. We don't know if they're equal. We don't know if one's more right or wrong than the other. These are just opinions that people just think that gay people are worse adoptive parents. That's just a thing they think. So it has to be equal to the idea that they're good parents, even though, again, it's not polling data you need to look to find out whether gay adoptive parents are just as good as straight adoptive parents. All you need to look for is the rate of child sexual abuse or just child abuse in general. Like, it's not really like you can absolutely find the answers to these things, but it doesn't really seem like he's looking for answers. It seems like he's looking for statistics to back up his claims, but avoid the real answers, the tangible things. They're like, oh, this is the answer. Well, no. I want to talk about this statistic that gives me the assertion that you could hold this opinion because other people hold this opinion. People think, like, there are people who think Santa's real. That doesn't mean that the opinion that Santa is real versus Santa is not real are somehow equal. It's not how that works.
Let's take a look at history. When did this whole thing get started? When did we coin the term homosexual? You know when it was? 1869. It was first coined by Hungarian journalist Karl Maria Kerthbeny. Then in 1897, the first known gay rights organization called the Scientific Humanitarian Committee is founded in Germany. 1924, Magnus Hirschfeld publishes The Transvestites, the Psychology.
Do you think he's going to talk about the Nazis burning down this library in Germany specifically?
Of sex expression. This was one of the first scientific studies of transgender people. 1968, Congressional.
Nope, skipped right over it. Well, man.
Proceedings reference gender identity that occurs in a report on public health service under the National Institute of Mental Health summary of sex deviates, which included gender identity disorder as a future direction for research. That's 1968 under Lyndon Johnson, if you wonder who the president is. 1971, the first legal challenge to a state ban on same-sex marriage was filed in Minnesota. 1973, which by the way is only about 50 years ago if you think about it. Ready? The American Psychiatric.
Yeah, it's not almost, that is, okay. Moving on.
Association removes homosexuality from its list of mental disorders. That means in 1972, being homosexual was a mental disorder. This ain't 200 years ago, folks. This is just 50 years ago, when we, the health professions, used to think it was a mental disorder to be.
Why, hello.
1973,
old.
it changed. 1974, the first gay.
I'm not that old. I'm 30, although I do feel kind of old. What's there in politics? Right now we're watching Patrick Bet-David learn a very, very picky history of the LGBT movement, apparently.
Pride marches are held in New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. 1986, you ready for this one? Courts rule that there is no constitutional protection for sodomy. In Bowers versus Hardwick, ruling allows sodomy to continue being criminally prosecuted.
By the way, sodomy is dick sucking, by the way.
So why is this 1986? Because the AIDS epidemic was in June of 81, and people were worried about what was taking place. A lot of gay folks were getting AIDS because the whole concept of sodomy is what they're talking about. If you don't know what sodomy is, don't go Google it because some sites may come up. But
also keep in mind the Reagan administration decided to not allow them to seek treatment, or what was it? Isn't it? They didn't want them doing research into AIDS and kind of just like left the gay community in the United States to wither on the vine, which they did not do.
But that's kind of what caused this 1986 ruling. 1987, the Supreme Court of the United States rules that sexual orientation is
Russia
not
these
a
days.
constitutionally protected class.
I know things are probably not phenomenal.
How long ago was that? 35 years ago? 36 years ago? 1988. 1993 was the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy prohibiting lesbians, gay, and bisexual people from coming out or telling
normal thing where we tell people don't ever tell us about your
related to their sexuality,
sex life, because it's not something people talk about. Even though, like, talk to a Marine, they'll talk to you about fucking their wife every other second. Like,
on this date, same year, 1993, the Supreme Court of the United States rules that the Boy Scouts of America cannot discriminate against gays and lesbian scouts. 1994, big year, the National Education Association, NEA, passes a resolution calling for the inclusion of LGBTQ topics in the curriculum.
That's about right.
1996, another interesting one.
God damn, man, the 90s.
Marriage Act, DOMA. which defines
Marriage Act.
marriage as between one man and one woman for federal purposes, signed by the one and only
Ay,
Bill
ay,
Clinton.
ay.
This was obviously a major setback for the same-sex marriage, but it was overturned in 2013. 2003, the Supreme
True.
Court of the United States rules that same-sex sexual activity is illegal in all 50 states.
Like imagine the idea that like your sexual activity was deemed illegal, like was up for debate by the Supreme Court, the highest court in our land, and like whether you decide to the way in which you engage in sexual activity is of the interest of the highest court in the U.S. Court system. Like, it's kind of insane how much this movement, this group of people, have had their entire existence scrutinized since like what? Basically, since we'd say like in the 60s when like gay identity really became at the very least like more understood here in the United States. Like
2004, Massachusetts becomes the first state to legalize same-sex
also,
marriage.
how am I supposed to think that this is a dark history for anybody other than our
national school climate survey,
our
which
history?
finds
It's
that
more like the dark
LGBTQ
U.S. history.
Students are disproportionately bullied and harassed in schools, which leads to 2008
sounds about
California
right.
voters approved Proposition 8, which bans same-sex marriage. In
I mean,
the state.
considering
2009
calling
Proclamation
someone gay
8387,
back when I was playing
President Barack
Call of Duty
Obama
was
dedicates
like
June as lesbian,
an
gay,
insult
bisexual,
in and of
transgender
itself.
Pride Month. 2011, California passes the Fair Education Act, which requires that all public schools in the state
Oh, I'm
teach
sorry. This
about
guy
the
talks really
contributions
fast,
of
and I
LGBTQ
probably do too.
community to history and culture. 2011, Don't Ask, Don't Tell is repealed. 2013, Gender Identity Disorder updated to Gender Dysphoria in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. In 2015, this is a big one, the Supreme Court rules in Obergefell versus Hodges that the fundamental right to marry is guaranteed to same-sex couples by the due process and equal protection clauses of the 14th Amendment. This decision legalizes same-sex marriage in all 50 states. Okay, so in 2016, 2017, Barack Obama tried to make it more inclusive for transgenders to be
Also, keep in mind, 2016, Obama was already out by this point.
able to participate and not get judged. Trump comes up and he revokes it, but then here's what happens the following year in 2018. The White House announces that most transgender people are prohibited in the military, okay? Then in 2020, a letter from the Department of Education announces that the inclusion of transgender athletes in sports teams based on their gender identity is a Title IX violation. This motion effectively bans transgender athletes from participating in sports. So look, why are all these parents? I mean, you see in Glendale what's going on with the protesting. Parents are coming out saying, GUSD, we're sick and tired of Glendale Unified School District. And it's happening across the country. But how did all this material go into schools? Why are public school teachers teaching this stuff? It's pissing off parents. How do we get here?
Again, this really comes down to like, if parents want their kids to be racist, they have the right to teach them that. I don't think they have a right to influence public education to have other kids' other parents' kids taught to be racist. Same goes for being homophobic. Like, at the end of the day, these parents who get pissed off because their kids learn about gay people are really just mad that they don't have these little mini-me's that they get to control anymore. Quite frankly, I would have preferred these people just not have kids. That's like my take on it. Like you can't protect these kids for their entire life. There is no way that you're going to be able to shield them from like the existence of others. So it's just a waste of theirs and our time.
You have to know who's behind it all. For example, do you remember how we talked
Who's
about
behind it all?
California
Remember when he
passing
mentioned the
Fair Act
Jews
Inclusive
earlier?
Act of 2011, which requires all public schools in the state to teach about the contributions of the LGBTQ people to history and culture. That's kind of how it happened. It was something that passed. But more importantly, policies that make LGBTQ-related material mandatory in schools are typically approved by state legislatures.
Cool.
In some cases, these policies are the result of grassroots activism, while in other cases they are initiated by government officials.
That is how it kind of happens.
It is then implemented by school district. And who was the most responsible for the California Fair Education Act? You ready? These organizations: Equality California, Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network, Human Rights Campaign, HRC, National Center for Lesbian Rights, Transgender Law Center.
I guess you would have to tell me what's wrong with the teaching of like the existence of gay and lesbian people. You would have to make the argument, which he never will, by the way, why kids shouldn't know who gay people are. Gay people walk amongst us. They exist out in the world. They are, you go outside your home, you're liable to bump into a gay. And like, what about your child not like understanding that that they might meet a gay person and know how to approach or communicate or understand their place in our society? What about like having that information is bad for the child, right? What about that is like, oh, that's not good? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The understanding of the world around you, like if you could teach a kid every single animal and what it does, you would be like, oh, will they ever use all of that information? Maybe so, maybe not. But it's education nonetheless. It's information. It allows kids to approach the world. Maybe they run into some animal that somebody else doesn't recognize, and they're like, oh, it's this kind of animal. And then, whatever. But like, why is that any different with gay people? And the answer, quite frankly, is it's not. It's just there are people who are homophobes, who are transphobes, who are weirded out by gay people. Fundamentalists, quite frankly, who just don't see them as equal members to this society. And, we don't live in a religious, theocracy. So for my money, as far as I can tell, or at least as far as I'm concerned, those people, fundamentalists, can kindly fuck off. That's how I feel about it, at least.
And what do these organizations have in common? You ready? They have the same 3 donors. And do you want to know who's behind these 3 donors? I wonder who. Do you want to take a wild guess?
Oh, no.
Get it right. Let me give it to you. First one is Gilead Sciences. In 2001, they became the first company to develop a once-daily pill for the treatment of HIV and AIDS. That's one of the biggest funders. And by the way, do you know who's been a shareholder of theirs since 1999? Soros Fund Management. And
so we're really doing the Jew posting now, huh? Okay.
In 2015, Soros Fund Management was one of the investors in a group.
You know what I also don't understand? Why people seem to only know, like, some of these guys only seem to know that there's like a billionaire on the left-wing side of things, right? Like, George Soros is probably, I mean, I don't know, but like, it would stand to reason that George Soros is probably the richest, like, left-wing, donor that we have. We have one on the left-wing spectrum of things. And even then, Soros isn't like, he's not a socialist. He is a capitalist, like a lot of them. But like, he holds left-wing values to a good degree. But like, there's one. Do you know how many of these guys donate or fund organizations on the right? There are multiple. You got the Koch brothers. You got the Mercers. You got the whoever it is. What's the fuckers that run Mitt Romney's think tank thing? I forget their name, but like, it's always weird to me when they bring up Soros as like there's like this the Soros fund that does. All right, there's like the Koch brothers, the Mercers. There's like 10 of these guys over on the right. Why is it that one guy is more interesting when the other side has so many other high donor funders? Like, what? Like, if you're that concerned about like, oh, is this the infiltration or corruption of our politics or whatever? I'm like, it's one guy. There are many others from the other side. They have more resources. We have 1 billionaire. They have like 6 or 7. Like, come on. Fucking Elon. What am I saying? Elon. Bezos.
Medicare, a company that provides specialty pharmacy services to patients with HIV and AIDS. And Gilead Sciences is a major customer of Themis Medicare. The second foundation is called the Arcus Foundation, and George Soros is a trustee of the Arcus Foundation and has donated millions of dollars to this foundation. And the third one,
also, isn't he a capitalist? Why does he even care about any of this stuff? This is called diversification of funds.
Is a trustee and has donated millions of dollars.
Jew. That's all you can name that segment for.
Teach this to them, like, how does it matter to you, George Soros? Why do you care so much?
Okay. Okay, we're gonna do it. Okay, we're gonna do it really quickly. Where is it? Oh, I can tell that's why he put the Judaism thing in there, because people have mentioned him. Hey, you seem to talk a lot about they and Soros and kind of Jew post a lot. Right. Whoops, sorry. Oh, whoops. Billionaires. Oh yeah, what's it called? What's that one fucker? That one dude who took Sam Alito on trips to whatever that fucking wherever that was in Alaska or whatever. What is going on? Oh, it's a stupid ad block thing. Fuck you, Forbes. Fuck you. Get the rest of your money from someone else. Yeah. Yep. American billionaires, there's political spending overwhelmingly leans Republican. A record-breaking $881 million was donated by the country's 465 richest people. Let's see. So, yeah, like, look at this. Let's look at this list for a hot second. Patrick Bet David over here is wondering why George Soros is, I don't know, what did he say? Like, trying to turn the kids gay or something through his political donations and through his funding organizations. We have George Soros donating $128 million to the Democrats. And then we have what Sam Bankman-Fried, who's I think in jail right now, $40 million. Bloomberg's $22 million, $18 million for this other one. Simon's $13 million. Hoffman and Yee, $11 million. Like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 billionaires on this little chart here. There are 6 that are donating to Democrats. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There are 14 out of the 20 donors to political organizations, to super PACs and whatnot. Most overwhelmingly, you already eclipsed George Soros' numbers with the first 2, whoever these 3 fuckers are. This already eclipses George Soros right there. This one outpaces that one. All of these outpace all of the Democratic donors. Like, at the end of the day, the question isn't, why is George Soros trying to teach our kids about gay people? The question is, why are there this many billionaires trying to keep that education from you? That's the actual question that needs to be asked. What don't they want you to know about gay people?
It's a valid question for parents to ask why he's funding this. By the way, as of June 2023, there are 6 states that make it mandatory to teach LGBTQ-related material.
Wow, 6 out of
California,
50.
Colorado, Illinois, Nevada, Jersey, and Oregon. So look, I don't know where you stand or what you're going to be saying, but either way, you're probably like, what the hell is about this? Kind of uncomfortable to talk about this stuff. You're either watching and saying,
It's not. It's not uncomfortable. It's mostly just watching somebody be really stupid and pick statistics that don't actually give them like data or info. They pick he picks points that don't really lead anywhere so that he can kind of lead you in whatever direction he would like to go in.
I can't stand you doing this. This is why I hate valuetainment and PBD. No problem. Or you're saying this, wow, I never knew about this stuff. I'm kind of interested in what else he has to say. I want to kind of look at some religions. If you were to look at which one is the most tolerant to same-sex marriage and which one is the least. If we have to say Muslim, that's the least tolerant. But the most tolerant is...
I don't even know what that means. When people say like Islam is like the least tolerant, I would say, well, first of all, like the major hubs for Islam are not in like first world countries. They're not in the global north. Like most of the religion resides in the global south. So do you think that could, what's the word? Influence the levels of fundamentalism within that society? Probably. And within the religion in that community? Probably. Same goes for like, keep in mind, he's going to say that Christianity is the most tolerant of gay people, which is absolutely true, mainly because Christianity resides in the United States, where we have grown more and more comfortable with gay people. It is because of the clawing back from fundamentalism that Christians have become more tolerant, because they are less dedicated to their religion. But there are people like the Mercers, like the Koch brothers, like that entire list you looked at, who would like to see a reversal of that. They want to be more like Islam. They want to be more like the radicals that they deride so much. If there's one thing a radical, ISIS terrorist and a Westboro Baptist Church a parishioner, if there's one thing that they both agree with, it's that the gays need to go. That is the one thing that they really agree on. They won't agree on America. They won't agree on who the what's the word I'm looking for? Who the Son of God is. They won't agree on that, but they will agree that the gays need to die. That, at the end of the day, is the thing that they agree on.
Catholics, and this is according to Pew Research, it's followed by Jews, then mainline Protestant, then historically black Protestant, then Mormons at 27%, and the least tolerant is the evangelical Protestant. And by the way, why don't we look at U.S. World News on what countries are the most...
Wait, was that not going up to down? Did that go bottom to middle to back? Okay.
...tolerant to same-sex marriage? Here's what you will find according to U.S. News. If we look at these 24 different countries, you see at the top where it says totally opposed, somewhat favor, strongly favor, or total favor score all the way to the right. Here's what you'll find. Canada, 79. U.S., 63. But look at this. The country with the highest favorability score is Sweden with 92. Then it's Netherlands, then Spain, France, then Germany. You can look at the rest. The lowest...
Am I fucking crazy? Do I not know? Wait. Go back. Okay. Why is this so fucking zoomed in? Okay. Strongly favor. Okay, so favors the brown. I don't know why that. Okay. Whatever. Strongly oppose. I think the question was percent who say they somewhat strongly favor allowing gays and lesbians to marry legally. Okay, in Canada it's 56.
At the top,
yes, it's 41.
Strongly opposed, somewhat favor, strongly favor, or total favor score all the way to the right. Here's what you'll find. Canada, 79.
Oh, he's going by this number.
63. But look at this. The country with the highest favorability score is Sweden with 92. Then it's Netherlands, then Spain, France, then Germany. You can look at the rest. The lowest, believe it or not, is Hungary in that list with 31. But if you...
Yeah, Hungary's kind of fashy right now, isn't it?
Go to other countries such as Indonesia, which is the largest Muslim country in the world. It's got the lowest score with 5 outside of Nigeria, and even Kenya's at 9, and Israel is at 36. It tells you...
Wait, yeah, Israel, the fucking, the fucking theocratic state of Israel. Yeah, this is fundamentalism. That's what you're seeing is the more fundamentalist a group is, the less favorable towards gay rights they're going to be.
Most Christian nations are tolerant, and those that are Muslim nations are not tolerant of same-sex marriage.
Well, that... Again, go look at the... Well, actually, what you would need to do... Let's take Sweden, for example. How religious is Sweden? According to... Oh, let's see. Sweden religious affiliations. Church of Sweden. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Other, not unspecific. How religious are Swedes? It seems Sweden is one of the least religious countries in the world, along with countries such as Czech Republic, France, Japan. Where's that list? Oh my God. Like, I don't think he understands like what he's looking at, because he's like, oh, look at all of these favorable countries towards the LGBTQ. They're all Christian nations, right? Not really. One of the least countries, along with Czech Republic. I don't know where Czech Republic is on this list. Sorry. Austria. Is Austria on this list? It's not. Netherlands. Austria. The UK. Yeah, UK is on here. Yep. Also, yeah. Oh, it's right here. France, France, Japan, Australia, like Spain also, like a bunch of these countries aren't very religious. Sweden and the Netherlands, the two top ones are not very religious states. Spain, probably a little bit less so than those two, but like France and Germany are pretty secular. Like what these are secular nations. And what you have in somewhere like Indonesia is, let's see, Indonesia. According to the most recent census, 2010, 87.2% of the population is Muslim. Okay, let's see, secular or religious. Let's see, Indonesia is a secular democratic country that has Muslim majority population. The Indonesian constitution guarantees all people to Indonesia. Yeah, no, I want to know how, like, religious status of Indonesia. I want, like, the same, like, breakdown. Religion, sure. Let's go religion in Indonesia. What do we got here? Yeah, Islam, Christianity, woof. Majority religion. History of Islam in Indonesia is complex and reflects the diversity of Indonesia. Oh my God, I don't want to read. This is so long. I just want to know if there's like, what the percentage of like, their like, how deep that goes. I'm sure they have it in there. 9% of the population is Muslim, gaining an on the title of largest Muslim population. However, Sharia law and the Islamic law isn't implemented in all of Indonesia, where there are 6 official religions: Islam, Protestantism. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, like what you're measuring here, either way, is more secular nations, as opposed to Hungary, which has taken a quick turn towards fascism, which leads you towards fundamentalism. Like what we're measuring is fundamentalism versus secularism.
Score is Sweden with 92, then it's Netherlands, then Spain, France.
Oh, remember
Germany.
when they mentioned Australia?
The lowest, believe it or not, is Hungary.
Japan
with 31. But if you go to other countries such as Indonesia, which is the largest
South Korea is
Muslim
actually really
country
high
in the world, it's got the lowest score with 5 outside of Nigeria, and even Kenya's at 9. And Israel is at 36. It tells you most Christian nations are tolerant, and those that are Muslim nations are not tolerant for same-sex marriage. As if I haven't pissed you off enough with this data that was...
Yeah, once again, that's what's the word I'm looking for? Considering Hungary also isn't a Islamic country, and it was pretty high on the disapproval, that kind of cuts against his argument now, doesn't it?
Sharing with you. I'm going to share with you from Pew Research.
It's fundamentalism that's going to be the difference maker.
The majority of black Democrats say gender is determined by sex at birth. So these are black Democrats. These are folks who were really needing civil rights at one point just 60 years ago.
They kind of still do, but okay.
Different than gay rights. If you look at this, here's what it says. So unlike other Democrats, a majority of black Democrats,
what does he think civil rights means?
At birth. If you look at this,
it's called civil rights, not black rights. Black rights are black rights. Civil rights are rights within a civilization, in a civic society. What the? Okay.
The yellow to the left is determined sex assigned at birth. The blue on the right is can be different from sex assigned at birth. If you look at the Republican leaning, you'll see 86 say no, your sex is determined at birth.
Which is stupid because we already know that's incorrect. And they already know that.
72% say it can be different from sex assigned at birth, but look
Makes
at
sense.
blacks, only 33. That's a 40-point discrepancy, and blacks are 66% saying it's determined by sex at birth. You know what it says? Blacks are closer to Republicans than white liberals. They have a...
It's really too bad that Republicans can't stop themselves from being like out and out racist, or maybe they'd actually gain the support of black people in this country through transphobia. But you know, it's just goddamn it, they'd have to get along with those darkies and they can't muster to do it, can they?
40-point difference. Hispanics are at 44 and Asians are at 38, but blacks are the least tolerant.
Why was there an asterisk over Asian?
According to Pew Research. Here's another one, man. Black Democrats are going to piss
I just
off
don't
a lot of the
understand
white
what the point of this
Democrats
is.
when you see
People
this,
have
and
opinions?
this is purely their data. I
Is
don't do this, so
there-
you can get upset at Pew Research
is
and write a negative
there,
review about them because these
what's
guys
it called?
are pissing off some of the wrong people. Watch this one. Democratic K through 12 parents defer by...
Like, what do people get out of this? Like, we read the comments a little bit. Like, what are great content. Thanks for compiling the data. I'm a boomer who DJ during the 70s and 80s, and there are a lot of clubs where straight and gay people congregated for the sake of the music. Everybody got along because neither side pushed their preferences on the other. Were you actually sure that it was... Well, first of all, the real question is, were the gay people open about being gay? First of all. Second of all, if you're like in the 70s and 80s, if you're in the cities, then yeah, you can still see a lot of that. But the idea that like, hey, look, I DJ'd a few times and, people were really cool. So I don't know what gay people mean when they said they were like, beat up in alleyways and everything else. Like, okay. Oh my God. Great analysis. Spot on. There's no analysis. Like, that's the thing. We are 15, almost 16 minutes into a 22-minute video, and I haven't heard one like, okay, this is like any position, anything. It's just been, these are the opinions of people, which is like, all right, that's fine. People can have whatever opinions they want. That doesn't mean they're correct, and certainly doesn't mean that I'm going to shift my political positions based on polling. I would have to be called Anna Kasparian to do that.
Race, ethnicity over what kids should learn in school about gender identity. Look at this here, percentage-wise. I mainly want to look at the left one here, which is the green one, where it says someone can be a boy or a girl, even if it's different from sex at birth. Republicans say no, 9% agree with
Shocker.
this. White said 64% yes, you can be different than
Makes
what you were
sense.
born with, but blacks said 30%. Do you realize blacks are only 21% away from Republicans and 34%?
I know,
away
and
from
the
white
Republicans still are
Democrats?
just too
How
racist
weird is that?
to coalition build with them.
Black friends or selling memberships at Bally's or working
It's
in
crazy.
the financial industry for the last 20 years with our African American community. The grandmothers and the mothers are typically very conservative. So this makes sense to me. And by the way, I just want you to watch this one video by this guy. You may know this guy's name is Malcolm X. He gave this speech many, many years ago, comparing the difference between what a white liberal is versus a white conservative. And the only reason I want you to watch his speech, if you've never seen this before, is because in this context, we're comparing black Democrats to white Democrats. Here's what
Oh
Malcolm
my
X
God, is he gonna
had
play?
to say about this.
Is this gonna be the white moderate thing? Are we gonna do the white moderate speech? Oh my goodness.
Many, many decades ago.
The white liberal differs from the white conservative only in one way. The liberal is more deceitful, more hypocritical than the conservative. Both want power, but the white liberal is the one who has perfected the art of posing as the Negro's friend and benefactor. And by winning the friendship and support of the Negro, the white liberal is able to use the Negro as a pawn or a weapon in this political football game that is constantly raging between the white liberals and the white conservatives.
What's funny also is this is what happens when you don't actually like understand history or any aspects of the civil rights movement, because who Malcolm X is referring to are white liberals who would tell black people during the civil rights movement that they just need to embrace, specifically with Malcolm X, they need to embrace nonviolence and like the nonviolence movement of like Martin Luther King, and that they need to work within the system to gain their rights. Who Malcolm X is railing against here are people like Hillary Clinton, people like, I mean, let's be honest here, Barack Obama to a good extent, Joe Biden, these sorts of like centrist half measure, let's like, dither around the edges and we'll try to get you your rights. Like, that's who he's raging against, not the white liberal who's like thinking now, who's thinking now, hey, we need to look out for the rights of trans and gay people. That, like, if anything, Malcolm X would want the support that whites show gay and trans people these days. Probably he would be more appreciative of the support, because there's kind of at least been a with younger generations, there's I think a more militant, or at the very least a deeper understanding of these issues than there was for that white liberals had back in the 60s.
The American Negro is nothing but a political football, and the white liberals control this ball through tricks or
it's like Joe Biden.
false promises of integration and
the same way Joe Biden promised to do police reform, during his campaign, and then did absolutely fuck all of it in his actual presidency.
Civil rights. In this game of deceiving and using the American Negro, the white liberals have complete cooperation.
I also don't know how this even connects. How are white people using black people to fight for trans rights?
Token progress.
So what do you think about his message? What do you think about what he has to say? You think they liked what he had to say? He's calling everybody out. And by the way, there's a part of America today that believes that. They're like, wait a minute, I don't relate to what's going on in America today. I love America. I'm a John F. Kennedy Democrat. I love what America stood for. I'm not part of all this craziness. Here's a stat that just came out that shows what's going on by generation.
I actually have no idea his
so let me get
takes
this
on
straight. So traditionally,
gay
people
folks.
being born before
Malcolm
1946, only 1.7% of them are part of the LGBTQ community. As if they're afraid to come out of the closet. You know how people say, well, because people are more comfortable today to come out. No, there isn't anybody that's more comfortable who doesn't give a shit about what you and I think than the older generation. They don't care what.
Wait, no, yeah, they do. What are you talking about? The older generation absolutely gives a shit what people think. Why do you think they're always fucking trying to hold on to keep their grip on power? Like, no. First of all, coming out at like 70, how many people do you think are comfortable with coming out in their like 70s, 80s, or 90s? Not a very high number. You're kind of like at the point where it's not really a meaningful, a meaningful action to take. So like, I don't even know what the fuck you like. What? Like, no. Do I need to bring up the left-handed chart? I'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do the left-handed chart. Fine. We'll do the chart.
What you and I think? Like, I'm 72 years old. I'm gay. I don't care if you like. They don't care whether you think anything about it or not. They're only at 1.7%. Baby boomers are at 2.7%. Gen X is 3.3%. Millennials born from 1981 to 1996 are 11.2%. And Gen Z, kids born from 1997 to 2004, 20%. 1 out of 5. Really? That's really naturally that's how they were? Or is this going back to the Gallup thing that we looked at where it says environment? Do you remember the whole environment was a big part of it? Yeah, this is saying that we were smarter 50.
That's a Gallup poll, by the way. That's not a scientific study. A Gallup poll asking people, do you think your environment makes you gay, is not the same thing as coming to the scientific answer that your environment makes you gay. All that you were asking, and the Gallup poll is just asking an opinion, and just how many people believe that opinion. That's not that's not how like science works. That's also not like how you don't get answers based on the answer to a question on identity, biology, or anything like that is not what percentage of people believe that to be true. Like, that's not how that works.
Years ago than we are today. And by the way, part.
Fuck you. God damn it. I hate when
it's starting to get to a point that, listen, this constant.
Stop. I hate.
Man. Really? That's really naturally that's how they were? Or is this going back to the Gallup thing that we looked at where it says environment? Do you remember the whole environment was a big part of it? Yeah, this is saying that we were smarter 50 years ago than we are today. And by the way, remember how I started this? And I said,
yeah, I just thought about that too. Yeah, like people in the 1950s were dumb as fuck compared to people in 2016. Like, if you took like the educational acumen approach to that, that would also show you that like, whoa, there's like this huge increase of people being suddenly smarter. Like, is that just because we got smarter? Just our brains just began to expand larger and larger? No, it's because we had more access to education, more access to the internet. Also, by the way, history of left-handedness. I know everyone brings this up, but left-handedness was illegal. It was thought of as like demonic or some shit in the U.S. And you had a pretty low amount down in the 1800s. And then as left-handedness began to be like not a big deal, you see it's gone up to 12% and kind of continued around there. We'll eventually plateau around whatever percentage of people end up being gay. And even then, the amount of people who are going to be lesbian, gay, bisexual, or trans is going to be super large, because the amount of people who are going to end up being like gay is going to be one number. Like, you know, that's just it's basically everybody who's anything but just straight. And that's like, there's so many other options in there. So like, even grouping lesbian, gay, bisexual, and trans people and queer people and everybody else all under one like banner is going to make it seem like, oh my God, there's this huge increase of this one identity. No, 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 no. Each one of those is its own little subsect also. So keep that in mind.
Pray for courage, wisdom, tolerance, understanding. Trust me, it takes courage to make
Wait,
this video.
what
Smarter
the fuck? I'm so confused. Okay.
Or is this going back to the Gallup thing that we looked at where it says environment? Do you remember the whole environment was a big part of it? Yeah.
Again,
this is saying
we already
that
said
were
this.
Smarter 50 years ago
A
than we are
Gallup
today.
poll is
By
a
the way,
poll, not a scientific
remember how I
study.
started this? And I said there's 4 things I pray for: courage, wisdom, tolerance, understanding. Trust me, it takes courage to make this video because I'm going to get a lot of hate for a video like this.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
But the tolerance part, it's starting to get to a point that, listen, this concept of tolerance, back in the days it was Corinth, now it was a city that was Corinth. Now America, the greatest country in the world, is turning into Corinth. The school you're
What the
going
fuck
to,
is
you're okay with
Corinth?
that? So
I have no
are
idea what the
we-
fuck
you know
he's
what
talking
happens
about.
Typically with tolerant people, here's how tolerant people are. Oh, it's okay, don't worry about it, it's fine. Yeah, I'm not with it, but go for it. Yeah, it's cool. A little bit of tolerance, fine. All of a sudden you realize, I think that guy's taking advantage of my tolerance. Am I?
Well, the question would have to be, what exactly are gay people in this country taking advantage of? Considering they haven't requested extra rights than everybody else, it really just seems like equality. You know, I think we've heard the old saying, you know, when privilege, you know, when you were born into, what is the phrase? It's like, when you're accustomed to privilege, equality feels like oppression. Yeah, it's a little bit of that.
Am I being preyed on? Am I being abused a little bit? Listen, you're not doing this anymore. You crossed the line with my kids. We're staying right here. And by the way, I'm Middle Eastern. I fall
Cool.
in a very weird category. Yeah, I've experienced all these other things. Hey, you know, you're discriminating.
I'm South
from Iran.
American, get over it.
I understand
There are
why
humans on the
somebody would say
planet.
for being
Some of
from
them like to
Iran.
fuck
Totally get
dudes.
it. I'm from Iran. I get it. But women's rights, there is no debate.
I know he's not talking about being Middle Eastern and then being like, women's rights, there's no debate. My friend, can I point you in the direction of Saudi Arabia? Like, again, it's always like, look, the things that I've become comfortable with are okay. But if I haven't become comfortable with it, then we shouldn't allow, which comes down to like, look, if you're not comfortable with gay people, that's your problem. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I can't help you be less homophobic. Like at the end of the day, these people need their rights and deserve them regardless of whether you personally like it or not.
Of course we have to have women's rights. Civil rights? Absolutely. I don't care if I'm darker than you or whatever I am. Yes.
Some people
Gay
definitely
rights
care if you're darker than them.
has turned into a religion where everybody's walking on eggshells, especially the Christian community, because we are seen. You guys are tolerant, so we can take advantage.
Oh,
of you.
is this guy
The
is this guy
Muslims say,
Christian?
"Listen, man,
Is that
come
why
to
he
this.
like
We're
goes
right
so
here.
hard
We don't
for
play
the
games here. We'll do that
Christians?
in America, not in our country. Oh, okay. We'll respect it. But no, in America, these guys are cowards. They're so tolerant. You can take advantage of them. And based on some of the data, I think people are waking up.
I mean, yeah, Christians are cowards. Yeah, yeah, this is true. This is incredibly true.
We can learn a little bit from them. They don't compromise their standards. And maybe Christians need to start realizing.
My dude, I would love for okay. I need Patrick Bet David to go do his homework on what not backing down from their standards is in the Middle East. Because it's not just, hey, look, keep it away from the kids. It's fucking hanging and stoning people. The only reason why we don't even see nearly as much of that as we used to back in the early 2000s is mainly because the international community has grown distasteful towards those sorts of fundamentalist sentiments.
We also don't need to compromise our standards and start speaking up. Again, if I pissed you off, awesome.
My goodness.
That was the purpose of this content, to get you thinking.
Never
If you're
have
watching this and you're
Christians.
Like, I was not planning for me to wake up
Man,
this morning
I
thinking
never
about
heard
this
from
topic, but
Christians
holy
until like
shit, here we go.
2023.
Now I got a text this to
I
my
never heard
mom
them
and dad and my
complain
husband
about
and my wife
literally
and my best
anything.
friend and say, do you agree with Pat has to say? I don't care. All I want to do with our team of research team that brought all this content.
My favorite thing is like all of its polling data. Let's see. Not one scientific study, just a bunch of polling data to determine who is equal in our society. Nice. Like, at the end of the day, like, what's it called? Let's. Oh wait, actually, let's do. Let's so much for the tolerant right. I don't know. We'll go with that. Tolerant right. Let's go heart emoji. Yeah, let's do that. Where's the thing? Nope, that's a 3. Oh man, I don't know how you make it to like this dude's age and be this like fucking stupid. Like genuinely. But again, this is at the end of the day, this dude's a salesman, and like what he's selling is data-driven homophobia, data-driven transphobia, data-driven anti-Semitism, data-driven racism, probably. But yeah. Oh yeah, I also saw before I started. I guess Sauger did a video on Sound of Freedom, which is hilarious. But we're not gonna watch that. We're not gonna watch that because we're gonna go play the They Are Here demo because we didn't get to it yesterday. So let's break into that. And now that it's actually going to cooperate this time, because I fixed the weird what was it technically? It was a it was like a resolution issue. But now that I have fixed that, we're good to go. All right, cool. Let me kind of adjust this. Let's pull that down just a bit. Okay, cool. I think okay, so I've played the demo before, so we'll do the prologue. Oh yeah, let's turn the light off. Let's use this. The prologue tells the story of the first UFO contact that happened 30 years ago, the event shown in the demo version. In the demo version, the main character is Private Michael Anderson, who serves at a military base near Gracewood Farm. By chance, he becomes a witness to a terrible, inexplicable events. Witness of terrible. That feels shorter than that. Oh, it is by a lot. There we go. Knives are flying. All right, there we go. All right. Let's see. Air Force Base on August 79.
We've an unidentified object at 270 degrees, 20 miles moving fast. Do you copy? Over.
Alpha, is that a meteor?
Fuck no, that ain't no meteor.
I'll try to get in touch. You entering controlled airspace. What are your intentions? Introduce yourself.
Introduce yourself? I don't think that's how that works.
No answer. Switching to heat control. Pushing down. Delta, I've strong interference. Say again. Communication lost. I try radio on different frequency.
I know what's it called. I was thinking of doing the because I guess now you can play Power Drone Massacre in first person. I don't know if I want to like, because it's not, from what I could tell, it wasn't a different gameplay slice. Maybe we'll play that next, but I don't know. I'm skeptical about doing that one.
Michael Anderson is 2 miles from the landing site.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. All right, it's gonna run. Oh, oh, this runs really well actually. You know, for an indie game, this looks damn good. Oh, I didn't even see the other thing in my. 1 second, I'm gonna turn this down a bit.
The object has landed. Your task is to identify the object.
Oh, that's way too far down. That's good. Whoa, that's red.
We'll conduct surveillance from the air.
Okay.
Drive with care. Report when you arrive.
All right. How do I?
I read you 5 by 5, sir. Out.
Uh-huh. How do I do literally anything? They haven't given me controls yet. It's a dark fucking game. Oh. Am I supposed to... Oh. Oh. Uh-huh. Wait, what the fuck is that? Uh-huh. Whoop. Uh-huh. I'm assuming I'm supposed to be following this ping. Oh, you guys can't really see, can you? Here, we'll, let's let me get rid of these for now. Oh, I also need to, okay. Well, should we do borderless? Okay. As long as it, like, cooperates. That's, like, my only fear. Okay, that should be good. Let me move me back over, maybe? Yeah, I'll go, like, up here. Yeah, I'll go up here for now. There we go. We'll switch to this. Just in case I need to, like, change it around. Anyway. Oh, boy. Ah. Helicopter. Nice, nice. Whoa, whoa, what? The fuck is that?
This is Omega. We see you. We are monitoring.
Oh, I think that's still just a bush. Oh, jeez. Can I do anything? Oh, okay, I do have a zooming cam. Okay. Okay. No, stick near me. I need to stay in the light. Great, stamina. Can we get rid of stamina in video games for a bit? Am I the only one? Like, can we take a break from it? Shit. There we go.
Omega, this is Michael Anderson. I report radiation detected. Counter indicator is average.
Okay. That's too slow. Let's go with white. White's good for this, I think. I also have no idea how much gameplay is going to be in this.
Object has been detected. It's approximately away from you. Don't notice movement. Over.
Oh, jeez. I'm like
Omega,
walking.
what the hell is going on with your devices? Radiation levels rising. Over.
Yeah, no shit. My ass is gonna get fucking cancer. Walking in all this. Whoa, 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 whoa. What? Is that two of them? Oh no, it's still just one. Okay.
Hey, can you hear me? Something strange is happening. Devices break down. Indicators are constantly changing. It can't be that everything breaks down at the same time. Seems that there's some kind of a anomaly here.
This is the base. Omega, stay away from the object. Observe the object from a distance.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, just watch as I walk up to it and get fucking probed or whatever. Oh yeah, there's also that other Alien game. I heard it's not very good, which I still think I'm gonna play it, but I'm gonna wait for it to go on sale, I'm thinking.
We're live. The radiation is getting stronger. Wait.
Goodness.
What the hell's going on there?
What the fuck? Why'd you just stop, my guy? Oh my goodness.
Omega, fly away. Michael Anderson, follow protocol.
Whoa! What the fuck? Yo, what the fuck? Oh shit.
Fuck. What the hell is going on?
Fucking aliens, that's what, idiot. Oh boy. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's not good.
Can anyone hear me? Over.
Bro, I would just hide behind one of these fucking rocks.
Can anyone answer? Damn it.
And night vision, okay. Oh! Fucking COD 4 out here. Yo, did I bring a gun? Okay. Oh, it's like, it's got the, like, the Outlast thing. Yeah, do I have a gun or something? Inventory? Anything? Oh, jeez. That's not good. That's not good. Oh, shit. Wait, what? I can't even trust that this fucking motion sensor is even, like, accurate at this point. Oh. What the fuck happened to you? Oh. Got little pustules. That's kind of gross. Oh, boy. Oh my goodness. You hear that bass? Oh, how did I wait? But it was over there.
God, what is this?
Yo, what the F? It's blue. The zoom.
Unbelievable.
Yo, you got some nice gamer lights, my guy. Oh shit. Whoa, 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 whoa. What? Huh? Am I supposed to run? I'm just gonna, okay. Oh boy. Oh shit! Ah, fuck. Whew. Okay. Okay, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. Well then, in the full game, you will learn how the events of the prologue are related to the gray. That's really loud. Okay, we're gonna turn that down a bit. And turn down my fucking headphones too. The farm and the story of Taylor Fox. Add the game to your wish list so you don't miss the discount. Miss a discounted release. Well, it's already on my wish list, so we could do the demo. We didn't, yeah, we could do the demo. Farm on the night of August 7th. Yeah, we can do the demo, and then the demo's pretty short if I remember correctly. Let's see, August 7th, the Sherman family witnessed bright lights in the sky that moved at breakneck speed over the cornfield. The lights moved in a random direction and at different speeds. After a while, they vanished. The strange behavior in the sky observed at the same time each night for 5 nights, according to the owner of the farm. All the animals went crazy. The dog became aggressive, tried to attack him, and bit him. The children complained that someone was walking under their windows. Farmer Peter Sherman himself in the field saw a strange figure that did not look like a man. What is it? Deliberate deception, drawing attention to oneself, or a sensation about an alien invasion? Journalist Taylor Fox travels to Grayswood Farm to take a photo and make a report for the local newspaper. Cool. Okay. I haven't played this, I think, since it came out, so it's been a good while. It's been a solid little bit. gonna turn this back down a little bit. Task, talk to the farmer. Yeah, sorry. Unfortunately, I don't have a volume thing on my on a little console thing. Oh wait, do I? Okay, so I don't have the ability to do any of the other stuff yet, I guess. Oh, take a photo. Okay, great material for a news report. Cool. Interesting. So you say. So you say. Sherman's house. But yeah, like, yeah, I wish I had a thing I didn't have to alt tab and like make it quiet for a second, but comes with comes with time. Okay. What do we got here? Inspect the house. Oh geez. Miss Fox, we made an appointment, but something bad happened. Our daughter went missing. My wife went to town for help. My son and I went to check out the farm. We'll leave notes for you and the police in case we pass each other. Peter Sherman, P.S. Be... What does that say? Be careful. Nothing on the back? Okay. Cool. Hello. Oh, I remember this being a really weirdly laid out house. Ooh, we got a nice family photo. That's nice. Oh. Interesting. Yeah, like, why is your fridge here? Of all places. Like, why is your fridge there and then... Yeah, very weird layout. Very odd. Lock? Really? Okay. Shitslock.com. Okay, fair enough. Like, the upstairs is a little bit less weird, but still weird in my opinion. What we got here? Interesting. Look at that human dog hybrid. Oh. Get to that in a second. What do we have here? Photo from the internet. Okay, so a bunch of these are just from the internet. I'm assuming you Google alien and this is what you'll find. Look at those weird ass guys. Found my old diary. How can I forget that? I saw the aliens. My parents think I'm lying, but it's true. I was fishing on abandoned pier of the something. I turned around very low above the ground, a huge disc. Oh, it's like the one that we saw. Oh, it's right there. I'm stupid. Diary text: today was the most exciting and scariest day of my life. I saw the aliens. My parents and I think I'm lying. My parents think I'm lying, but it's true. I was fishing from an abandoned pier on the river. Suddenly, I was deafened by a roar coming from behind. I turned around very low above the ground. A huge disc with 4 flashing lights or windows was hovering. I felt a punch that seemed to throw me into the air. I froze there as if in zero gravity. Everything around me became blindingly bright, and I seemed to lose consciousness. I remember seeing 3 aliens with gray skin and big eyes. I was placed on the table as if I was welded to it. They were standing over me. It seemed to me that they communicated with each other telepathically. Then one of them came over and did something to my head. I don't remember anything else. I woke up on the pier later in the evening and barely made it home. My head was buzzing. Oh, you can zoom in and zoom out. Interesting. And I walked home as if in a delirium. When I got there, I found several cuts to my body and 2 small, very smooth holes behind my ears. What was that? I'm scared to sleep. Oh, goodness. Oh, do I need to take a picture of this? Photo of the diary? Yeah. Okay, cool. Someone's been reading. Wait here. I've learned a lot about these things. They're called the GAYS. These are not little green men, but big, creepy, and dangerous creatures. Basically, they can be described in the following way: a large head, disproportionate to the body, no hair, bottomless black eyes, gray skin, long, thin limbs. Their voices are like nothing else. These aliens are very aggressive towards people. It all starts with bright lights in the sky near home. which move along a certain way. Then people start to have a nosebleed, have severe headaches, and a buzz in their ears. The animals start raging. Next, people start to have memory lapses. When they come back to normal, they find themselves in unexpected places, for example, in the middle of the field or on a road a few kilometers away from home. Some of them have flashbacks of terrible memories. People remember terrifying experiences. The aliens established control over their minds, and this has affected their psyche. Also, they found the marks on their bodies, incisions to be exact, during palpation. It felt like something thick, like a foreign object moving under the skin. Interesting. All right, well, somebody's been... How many... Wait, are there only 2 doors? Okay. I guess if there's only like 3 people... Oh! Okay. What is this? This is my daughter's room. This is my daughter's room. During the night, I heard strange noises when I came in. She wasn't in her bed, and the window was wide open. I'm sure she was abducted by those things. What the fuck? Can I see it? Can I see it? Nope, can't see shit. God damn, it's fucking dark. F as usual. There we go. What is this? Oh, lovely. It looks like the drawing was made of a missing daughter from the farm with paper. Paper is painted on both sides. Oh boy. Oh boy. Can I pick this up? Oh, walkie-talkie. Apparently it belonged to the missing girl. If you listen closely, you can hear very strange sounds. I do not like the sound of that. Put that down. What the fuck? Oh boy. Why do they always sound like they're like burping? Like, I never like the burping sounds. I think it's because... Oh, this door's open now. It's probably because of the grudge that I fucking hate those kinds of like type sounds, but still. One second, I'm just going to turn this down just a little bit because this looks like it's hitting into the yellow. Okay, that's better. Okay, hi. Oh. Wait, why is this the only thing that's like... Oh. Did that just send me like a subliminal message? Ooh. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh. Hi, note. As a child, headaches began to bother me. They tortured me to this day. I went to the doctors dozens of times, but no one could explain the reason for their occurrence. Now I understand why the doctors could not determine the cause of the migraines. The answer is simple: abduction. I only remember the alien abduction when I found my old diary. It was then that the migraines began. The cuts that I noticed then behind the ear were a trace of them. I'm sure they've implanted something in me. Some kind of transmitter implant. Because of this, I forgot everything. I definitely decided that I would get it. I'm not crazy. Wait. I only remembered the alien abductions when I found my old diary. If implanted transmitter or implant, I would get it. Interesting. Oh. Hi? Oh, there it is. Oh. In the note, Peter Sherman claims that he cut out an alien implant. Maybe take it. Yeah. Seems like a idea. I don't know if it's necessarily a good or bad one, but... Hello? Hey, you punk! Oh, okay. Well. I think it's time to head back to the car. Yeah? Oh, there's 5 now. What does 4 mean? Hello? My vehicle? Whoa, okay. Might be time to go. Oh, that's my car. I thought that was the fucking ship for a second. I was like, wait, what? Why does everyone have, like, severe asthma? Get in the car, get in the car, get in the car, get in the car. Okay, whew. Alright, well. Gasoline, yes. Wouldn't it be... Wait, am I low on gas? Wouldn't it be the battery that's fucked? That feels like a much larger ship than the one from the last time. Hi there. Hello, large ship. Oh, he's mad. Oh, he's mad. Oh, he's mad. Well. Okay, then. It's been a while. I kind of forgot a little bit of that. Oh, okay. In the full game, you'll find a large territory at Great Woods Farm. Full story of the alien abduction at the game. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. Understood. Okay. Well, let me quit this so we don't have to hear that ringing in our ears. All right. Well, overall successful, I'd say. Thursday is gonna be the next show. Thursday we'll go over the Warrior Poet Society thing. The PBD thing I didn't think would take as long, but like, goddamn, does that dude like? That dude's fucking stupid. But yeah, we'll do Warrior Poet Society with the smart gun thing on Thursday, and then other than that, it'll just be like the normal stuff. Whatever news comes out between now and then. Otherwise, if you enjoyed any of what you watched, if you just hung out and lurked in chat, if you learned anything, if you liked what you saw, if you ever want to appear on the show, before you do anything, I implore you, you should totally hit that follow button on Twitch and hit the subscribe button on YouTube. It really helps out the channel, helps me out, helps keep the ball rolling on everything else. Otherwise, you all should have a nice night, and I'll see you all Thursday. Yeah, that sounds good.